All right. Actually, I do want to keep one ear off just in case. Hey everyone. Let people filter in. Why aren't you vegan yet? Actually, oh, here I got my water. Never mind. I was gonna go fill up my water. My man was on top of it. Oh. I just realized something else. We'll see if it works if I do it midstream. We'll find out. Oh. Oh. My makeshift mic. Well, it's a mic, but, you know. I don't have a way to, like, not like a cool podcast where they got the little adjustable mic. Alright. I don't know why that fan keeps turning on. Just the lightest touch. Okay. Oh, okay. Everything is so sensitive. Okay, hopefully that works out. Yeah, I didn't really have everything set up. That's okay. Why? Okay. Wow, I already got requests and I wasn't even talking. That's crazy. Hey, Lori, I saw you pop in. Hey, what's up? Alright, I'm gonna bring up some people. I'll send you an invite, Lori, but you don't have to come up right now if you don't want to. I think I'm hearing this. Hey, what's up? Hold on one second. There we go. Maybe I can't hear you. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you.
You got it okay?
Yeah.
Girl.
I was trying to switch my headphones because the other ones are just dying. So, last minute throw together, but that's okay.
Right. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a
How you
lot
doing?
thanks a lot for what you said about the guys. I appreciate it. You know.
About say it again?
Yeah. Paul and Matthew Berkowitz, the guys that had the plane crash here in California.
Yeah. Oh my
It's really
gosh, that's
bummer because
so.
yeah, they did a lot of really good work flying dogs and cats everywhere, and putting them together with fosters and stuff. So it's a detriment for us.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, I mean, and for the animals, right? Because
Yeah.
they were doing so much.
Oh yeah, yeah, they were, and they were happy
That's
to
so
do it.
sad.
Happy to fly them. So, but thank
Was there
you.
any? I was gonna say, like, if you want to share, actually, since we have the audience, about what had happened, because I don't know if anybody else knows.
Well, probably not, because it happened in California. It was just a small plane accident, and both of them were together as a father and son, and went down near Los Angeles. So, and I haven't had my TV on for the last week because I had to move and move back. So I haven't been able to really catch up on the news. I've just heard it over here, TikTok, and I was just like shocked.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
so heartbreaking.
yeah, and they did a lot
Yeah,
of good work. Helping
that's so
us get
sad.
dogs to other states, other, like other, Alaska, Canada, stuff like that. It just,
So they would fly over and pick up
yeah,
animals that needed help and brought them to
right,
where they were going to get help. Yeah.
right,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah, they move dogs and cats all the time. So, but
That's so
anyway,
sad. Well, love to their family.
yeah,
We'll be keeping them in mind.
yeah, that's all I can do is just, you know, give them a good send off, a good
Yeah.
farewell.
Yeah. I hope
Hope
there's
somebody
somebody
comes in
there
and
that
takes over. Yeah, hope somebody else comes in.
exactly.
So you got a
Hopefully.
lot of people in here. there,
Yeah, yeah,
there's four people
absolutely.
in your queue. You got four
I
people
know.
in
I
your
was just setting up because my fan kept
queue.
turning on. I don't know why it
Oh,
kept doing it. So I was struggling with that, and already I had like four people.
oh, I messed up because I thought maybe you're coming Friday, but I didn't know you were on today, so I messed up. I just happened
Oh,
to see
that's
that you're
okay.
on.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was trying to stick with the Tuesday Thursday, but I was skipping Tuesday this week. I don't know. I would prefer to do it more like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I don't know if that would be a better schedule or not. I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
talk with you
whatever,
offline about
whatever
it.
works for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But also, I like having you up here, so your
Well,
availability is important to me too.
my availability is free right now, considering I'm recovering from a knee replacement surgery. So
Well,
I'm
I
not
appreciate you
working.
still coming here and being here,
Oh yeah, no,
and
I love it.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
how
yeah.
you talk to people.
Right back at you.
Yeah,
Do you want to pull people up?
sure. Whatever's
It's
best
up
for
to you.
you.
Everyone's been in line the same amount of time, so it doesn't matter where you pull them from. And
Oh, okay.
honestly, if you pick wherever you want to pick, it doesn't. There's no rhyme or rule. So,
Okay.
Yo, what's up?
hey, hey,
Okay.
femboy, are you over 18?
Yeah, I am.
What year
Bro,
were
my
you born?
username's so goofy.
I want to. Can you bring someone else up? I'd rather talk to somebody a little more mature. Thank you. Hey, Jack, are you
Hello.
over 18?
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Right on.
19.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Well, no, I just had a question. So, were you like always vegan, or did you like, so you used to eat meat and now you're vegan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, for like 26 years of my life, I wasn't vegan.
Okay, okay. Was it for just a standpoint of like ethics, morality, like
Yeah.
I
So,
get it, I get it.
like for example, if I could give you a hypothetical and we just jump right in, if I had a dog right here and I decided I was going to kick this dog for my entertainment and exercise, would you think that's moral?
No, I'm actually a big animal lover myself. I got fish, I got a hamster, I got two
Oh,
gerbils, I got a cat. I love animals.
nice. That's fantastic. So you understand that they're unique individuals. They have their own like personalities, their own
They do.
preferences.
They
Yeah.
do.
Well, all a vegan is saying is that they don't want to demand those individuals go through the scariest system that we wouldn't even send our worst humans through. Like,
It is
do you know what
messed
the
up.
animal? Yeah, do you know what the animals have to go through in order for you to use them?
I know. It is sad. It is sad. It really is.
Well, so
But
what animals do you use? Do you eat flesh and drink milk and eat
not a
eggs?
big milk guy. Milk was never a big thing for me. I don't like eggs either. But I'm a really big steak guy. I love beef. Not
Okay.
really a
Do you
big
know?
chicken guy, but like I like steak. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you know what the cows go through in order to become steak?
Yes, yes, I
All
know.
right, walk me through it.
I
Like
know it's bad. I feel like
they arrive at the slaughterhouse. What happens next?
they're kept in very terrible conditions.
So,
So
I
that
mean,
way.
aside from the conditions, they all meet their end, right? Did they want to end, or did someone take their life?
Yeah, someone took their life. Yeah.
All right. So if you didn't want to support that, what could you do?
I mean, I'm thinking at a standpoint because yes, if I because I don't support that, but it's like it's more of a thing like where I don't see it, I'm not.
Hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's also at the same point if even if I don't support that and don't buy it, everyone else is. So it's
Do
always
you,
going to continue.
do you know what supply and demand is?
I do.
Okay.
Like if
So
there's
you
a
know that they're
demand
watching
for it,
what
there's going
you,
to be a supply.
right. So when you go to the store and you purchase a product that's animal based, they're watching
Mhm.
that and they're going to replace that, right? So that means your demand subjected someone else to go through that system to replace what you have purchased, your demand. If you move that demand to like plant-based products, they're going to reduce how many animals they breed into existence and focus on making the plant-based products instead.
But you know, like how much people that is going to take? It's going to take an astronomical amount of people to not buy
Do you,
those products to
do
for
you know
that to
what
happen.
do you know what veganism is?
Not eating animal-based products.
So that is something we do, but it's more of a side effect. We're vegan because we're against the exploitation of sentient beings. We don't think there's a moral, it's not that we don't think, we recognize there's no moral difference between us and animals that justifies using them when we don't need to, when we can thrive off of plants. So,
Well, oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's so you don't believe in the exploit of sentient animals, right?
Right.
So
For
then,
unnecessary needs. We don't need to use animals like to eat or to wear or for vivisection.
but do you feel the same about us being used for, labor and getting paid very cheap wages just to, pay the
Do you
people at the top?
do you think
It's
it's
the same
moral to
thing.
exploit humans?
No, it's not, but it happens every
Right.
day on Earth.
So we're talking about morality. So because this happens, are you going to go out and exploit humans because everyone else is?
No, I would never, but a lot of people
Right.
do.
Okay. So just
I
because
mean,
everyone else is doing that doesn't really matter about your decisions. Veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings, regardless of what other people support. So even if your withdrawal from the market made no difference, it's still a principled stance that you don't want to demand someone's slavery. And you actually do have a lot more power than you think. One person going vegan saves 100 to 300 animals from being forced into existence to be put into that system. So don't put yourself down. You actually have way more sway on what's out there than you think.
well, I was kind of leading because my whole question about, us working for, the millionaires, I was kind of getting at the point that the world's evil. I think you can agree with that as it comes
Well, sure,
to
but
us
are you
people and
evil?
us animals.
Are you evil? Do you try to be
I
evil?
don't think so.
Do you try to avoid being evil? Like, do you try to avoid being racist?
Yes. I mean,
Right.
I'm not
Even
racist,
though
but
even though
yeah.
all racism won't be eliminated in the world, you still strive to not be racist, right?
I mean, I was never really racist, but sure.
Well, we live in a world that has a lot of racism. It's easy to bump into racist boundaries that if you're not experiencing the racism, you may not even see it, right? But you still strive to avoid being racist to the best of your ability, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say strive because like I see people as people. We all bleed red. I don't look at it.
Okay. So that's my point is that you're not using the excuse that you'll never eliminate all racism. There will always be racist people. Therefore, I can be racist, right? You think that's a ridiculous argument, but you're using it right now to use animals because
That's a
everyone
good
else
point.
is
That's
doing
fair.
the wrong thing. I won't change until they change. It's like if you recognize what's wrong, you should do what's right, from your own perspective. If you agree animal abuse, using animals when it's not necessary is immoral, you have a responsibility to take action on that.
Yeah, that was a really good point. I like that. Just because a lot of people are racist doesn't mean. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah. We try to do better when we learn that we can do better. We try to do our best. No one is perfect,
Yeah.
of course, but
No one is
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So that's veganism in a nutshell. Would you be interested if I had like resources for you in looking into veganism further, or at least maybe watching Dominion, seeing what those labels mean, like the grass-fed, humane raised, etc.
No, because I'm gonna still eat my steak. I'm sorry.
So what if it were dog? Would you eat it?
No, that is so different. That's so
Why
different.
is it
Just like my
different?
cats, and just like my fish, just like my hamster, just like my gerbils, I wouldn't eat them. They're my.
So have you ever met a cow?
Yeah, my uncle. They have like I guess like a wild cow, because they live out in like Middleburg. I don't know if you're from Florida, but Middleburg's
No.
kind of like the country of Florida. And
Okay.
they got this like wild cow comes about. He's adorable. And I
Did you
wouldn't
know
eat
that they
him
call cows? All right. Why not?
because I met him face to face.
So it's just about whether or not you've met them or not.
Yeah, it's more of a fact that you know.
Okay, so let's say you go into the store and all the flesh has been replaced with dog and cat flesh. You've never met these dogs or cats. Would you be more willing to eat their flesh?
No.
So I'm just pointing out that you have kind of this hypocrisy kind of going on. You can't really explain why you would demand cow picking and cow picking, cow, chicken, and pig flesh, but you wouldn't demand cat and dog flesh. But you don't really have a reason why, other than had experience with dogs and cats. But cows, which you just said are, you wouldn't eat that one cow. All cows are known as like grass puppies. They have similar intelligence to dogs. In
Yeah,
fact, they're
cows are
smarter than
adorable.
dogs. Yeah. So what is it then that, if you were to go to a store, what would help you remember that those are basically dogs?
I mean, I don't know how better else to put it than it's just kind of the way of life. It's like the circle of life.
Well, what if you were the victim? What if you were the one that was about to lose your life? What would you want your oppressors to do? Would you rather them go, well, I think they're cute, but I'm just so weak for their flesh? Or would you rather recognize that they don't need to use you and just stop? What would you prefer as the victim?
That's a strange hypothetical because we're kind of at the top of the food chain.
Well,
So if
imagine
anyone,
aliens came down. Imagine aliens came down and they're stronger than you. They know more about the universe. They keep you in a cage. They know that you're a sentient being who wants to live and that they don't need to use you. What would you prefer they do? Continue to use you or stop?
that wouldn't happen. I can't answer that
You
hypothetical.
can't answer that?
That
We have
wouldn't happen.
movies about this. How can you not imagine that? You can't imagine being enslaved. Do you understand what I'm saying is that you need to put yourself in the victim's perspective? We had human slavery at one point. There is a time that you could have been the victim. You still could be the victim. What would you want if you were the victim and someone was oppressing you? Let's say you get bumped on the head, you can't really defend yourself anymore, but you're still sentient. Would you like to be respected, or would you accept being exploited?
I mean, I think we would all want to be accepted.
Right, you want to be at least not exploited at minimum, right?
But we kind of
Hopefully
all
someone's there to take care of you. We're talking about morality though, right? We're not talking about we're talking about morality, not reality. I'm saying, what do you think is right and wrong? And so far it sounds like you are a vegan at heart. You don't want to hurt animals, because you recognize that they're living life and they deserve their inherent rights. They don't deserve to have a knife dragged across their throat,
Yeah, we,
right?
we used to have chickens, and we had a little thing in our backyard, you know, for eggs and stuff. But that was like because I don't really like eggs. That was really just my family. But yeah, we had chickens, and I think it's a
Okay.
difference when if we were to eat meat. I think if you gave them like a good life, if the cows were raised on like a nice pasture, lived a good life.
All right,
I think
Jack, I'm going to take you back. I understand what you're saying. You're talking about welfare, but I want to bring you back to my dog kicking example. You said it was wrong for me to kick that dog, right? I can go kick something else. to cause this dog unnecessary suffering, even if I gave them a great life beforehand, is immoral,
I
right?
mean, well, we all die. So, like, if you gave the
So I
cow a
can
good
kick this
life,
dog? So I can kick
no,
this dog?
that is not.
So that's what I'm telling you. This is a hypocrisy. You're being a hypocrite. You're saying it's okay to do this to cows, but not okay to do it to dogs.
I never said
So,
that.
okay, all right. So I put a cow in place of the dog. Is it moral that I kick the cow?
No, I'm saying.
So what if I'm
No.
going to remove the head of the cow after I'm done kicking them and then I'm going to eat them? Is it moral now that I kick the cow?
Well, no, I'm saying we all die. If you give them a good life, the cow
So Jack, I
dies.
gave this cow a
Yeah.
great life. I gave him a great life. Hugs, kisses, stories at bedtime,
It's not that.
little
Just give them
snuggles.
like
I played
natural
ball
cat.
with them.
I
Yeah,
want to
well,
feel.
we
Give them
did
cow
all
stuff.
the fun things that the cow wanted to. The cow had the best life, was my best friend.
We don't do all that. Just the cow living on like a field.
So
doing
now
cow
I'm
stuff.
going to cut the cow's head off so I can eat their flesh. Is that moral?
No.
How do you think they do it?
Well, yes, the way like the way they do it now,
So
modernly, is fucked up.
Jack, I'm going to probably move on because I think that you're purposely not listening. Like if you wouldn't
I
put a
think you just don't
dog,
see eye to eye. You just don't see eye to eye.
you think kicking a dog is wrong. I'm telling you, cutting someone's head off is escalating the violence.
Okay, well, when the cow dies,
The cow
give it a
doesn't
good
die.
life. Don't
The
cut
way
its
it
head.
goes, Jack, listen, I'm going to tell you what the cow goes through. They get pushed down really tight corridors in a place they've never been to that has loud metal. They get slapped into what's called a knock box, which is a tight space that their head fits into sometimes, or it's just a square space. They're terrified, usually looking around for help. And
No, I know that.
if they're in a standard slaughterhouse, they're gonna maybe get a little bolt gun. And that doesn't always take the first time, and it's painful. If you did it to humans, imagine what that would be like if we
I
were
was
bolting
listing an alternative.
humans. No, you need to listen. This is how all the animals you use get processed. This is how cows get processed. When you go to a burger place, when you go to a grocery store, this is what the cow has to endure. Doesn't matter that they had a great life. They all go to the same end. So they get a bolt. Maybe they're knocked out for a few seconds. Then they're hung upside down by their back leg. Cows are heavy. Their hip cannot handle that. A lot of times it dislocates while they're hanging. Most of the time they come out of this daze, now with their hip dislocated, hanging upside down. And a human comes up and slices their throat with a knife, and all of their blood just pours out. They're seen kicking, choking on their blood. This is what you demand. When you pick up that package, you're like, I like the price. I like the process. Make more. Oh, Lori, please.
Oh no, it's fine. I was saying something in a comment. You're doing fine.
Okay, can I just make a point then? After just one point?
Yeah, go for it.
So you listed all this torment and suffering. How do you
That's standard
think
practice.
how do you think Jesus
That's
felt on the
standard.
cross when he died for our sins?
You should go watch
There we
Christspiracy,
go.
actually. Yeah.
No, for real. How do you feel?
Go watch
Jesus died on the
Christspiracy.
cross for us?
Go watch Christspiracy. It's a documentary that talks about Jesus' life on earth. If you really believe in your religion, you should go watch Christspiracy. You've been lied to.
How have we been lied to?
There's a lot of, so the original texts come from scrolls. They don't come from your James, whatever, the kings that have written the Bibles. They go to the original sources of these Bibles and they look at the actual translations of words. So you should go watch it. You'll find that there's a lot of things
The disciples.
like dominion over the animals, like the Den of Thieves is actually Den of Violent Ones. You should go check it out. It's really, it's eye-opening.
Yeah, and the King's James book was written by King's James of England, not some
Yeah.
guys walking around in white robes that you think existed.
No, King James version is just a translation. It was still written by multiple people. It was just a
Right.
translation from Hebrew to
By
English.
King James. You know how many times this Bible that you say is so benevolent has been written? Do you even know about your religion? Do you even know where it came from? Do you even know when it started? I mean, if
it's
you're going
called
to
a
pull the religion
translation.
out
It
of the
wasn't
hat,
rewritten. It's a
yes, it
translation.
has. It's been rewritten thousands of times. Do you know how many religions there are? There are 4,000 religions, dude. Come on, don't use that as an excuse because you can't prove that God exists. You cannot
There's
prove it.
not 4,000 religions.
There are thousands, 4,000 religions. There are different gods. There's different gods for every one of them. So how many gods do we have up there? Do we
One
have a
true
Christian
God. There's
God?
only
Do we
one
have a
true God.
Muslim God? Do we have a Buddhist God? What is it?
No, it's the one true God. It's the only God,
There
creator
is
and
no
maker of the
one.
I'd
universe.
Okay,
like to
prove
ask
it to
Jack
me.
a
Prove it to
question
me.
regarding the Jesus stuff. So, do you think Jesus would prefer that you exploit and oppress animals if you don't have to, if you have the choice not to? Or would he rather you exercise or extend compassion and empathy to animals and stand for animal liberation? Would he want you to stand in the way of animal liberation when
Yeah,
you don't
that's what I
have
was trying
to?
to get at earlier when I said we raise cows in a more humane way. You know, they're out on a
But they're
green
not liberated,
field.
they're
No,
being
they're not.
oppressed.
That's what I
It
was
doesn't matter
getting
how
at.
you treat
That's
them.
what I
Like
was getting at.
we're yeah, I get what you're
There's
saying.
alternatives to the
But veganism
modern day
isn't
beef
based.
industry.
No, I get what you're saying, but we're not making a welfarist argument. We're holding a stance against the oppression and the exploitation of animals, especially considering that it's unnecessary for those of us who have access to grocery stores and vegan recipes.
I agree. The modern day way of curating meats is fucked up, and I agree with that. I was just listening an alternative of a more humane way, but we
But
don't do
there's not a
that.
humane way to exploit someone and also take the life from someone who doesn't want to die, especially considering most of them are juveniles.
No, I never
And
said
even when they're
that.
not, like a dairy cow, she'll be unalived after she's been used up for a few years, and she'll only get to experience around 20% of her natural lifespan. But typically, their lives are taken when they're juveniles. We bring them into this world to destroy them as juveniles when we don't have to.
Exactly, it's fucked up. What I'm trying to get at is if we had a more humane way, and y'all are not getting what I mean by
No,
humane.
we used to do what you do. We weren't raised vegan. I understand your stance. You don't understand ours, and that's why we're here trying to help you understand that. We understand where you're coming from, and we're trying to help you unravel that and dismantle that and question and challenge that. Challenge what you've been conditioned to believe by the industry and society.
That's a fair point. But again, dude, that's just how the world works. I can't control what
Right,
all these big
right. You can control
corporations
your
do.
actions, though. You can control what you do. You can control whether you support unnecessary exploitation of sentient, conscious feeling beings or not. You have
You
full
can't.
control over that. You don't have
Like
control
those
over the
chickens I had in
system.
my backyard a couple years back. I gave them a great life. Me and my family, they
Mhm.
passed naturally. We gave them chickens a great life. That's all I can do. I can't have
I think that that's how
300
you
chickens.
perceive that. When it
We had
comes
five
to
chickens.
the establishment of veganism, it was established before the era of factory farming. Veganism wasn't a response to factory farming. It was a response to backyard farms and small farms and local farms, although every factory farm is local to someone. So, these
Factory
distinctions aren't
farms are fucked up.
unnecessary.
I'm not
Yeah,
disagreeing with y'all.
but
I'm
so
just
is
saying there
exploiting
can
an
be an
animal in your
alternative, but
backyard.
there isn't because people prioritize money over um,
Right.
humanity.
But are you not vegan because of money, or is there a different reason?
I just like steak. I just like steak.
So sensory pleasure. So your reason is an appeal to pleasure. Is that a moral justification for exploiting and oppressing someone if you have the option not to?
No, but we're getting oppressed and
Right.
used every
No.
day.
It's just
Every
no.
day I
You
go to
could just
work.
say no.
I'm,
hmm
I'm just saying the truth. We get
I know.
used every day for cheap labor when I
Yeah,
can barely
it's
afford food, rent, all
exactly.
these
So do
bills.
you think in a vegan world you might be less likely to be unnecessarily exploited and oppressed in the ways you may feel many of us are?
In a vegan world, I still would because the world is evil. That's the whole point I'm trying to get at.
But you
That was
don't
the whole
have to be
point I'm trying
evil.
to get
You
at.
don't have to be complicit to that. You could stand against that.
Yeah, no,
You could challenge that. You
exactly.
could be courageous enough to challenge that.
And I am. I don't stand for factory farming.
I believe
I
you
don't stand
are.
for a lot of things that's going on in the world. But who am I? Can't change that. I'm just one single man.
Right.
One single man. I
But you
can't
can
change
control
that.
your
And usually it takes
contributions.
one single person to start something. You
Nope.
know?
The main point I was getting at is this world needs Jesus. That's the whole point of anything.
Prove to me that he exists.
I mean, why wait for Jesus to be here to do the right thing? Why not impress him and do the right thing right
I
now?
do the right thing. I mean, y'all don't know how I live. Y'all don't know
Okay,
my life, but I
again,
do the right
you
thing.
should watch Christspiracy. When he goes into the den of thieves, he's upset because they're selling animals to sacrifice.
You know, the main point of
So,
evil is not.
also, your book, chapter 1 is the Garden of Eden, which is supposedly the most perfect creation that your God has made. And you didn't use animals then. You didn't use animals until sin entered the world. So all I'm hearing from you is, well, I have sinned and so I can't do better, but I'm pretty sure that this is all a test for you and your God, isn't it? Like you're supposed to try to do the best you can in such an awful world. And instead you're just sitting here making excuses instead of being an adult, making the right
Not
choice.
making
You sound like a child, really. You sound like a child. I can't do anything right because the world isn't perfect.
I never said that.
No, but that's
just
what
get
your
mad 'cause I brought
argument
up
is.
Jesus. You're just mad.
No,
'cause
I'm
I
not
brought-
mad. No, I'm not mad that you brought up Jesus. I actually, if I were a Christian, I'd be offended by you because I don't even think you know your own book. Because your Bible does tell you to not use animals unless you need to. So I suggest you go watch Christspiracy. Go educate yourself. I'm going to move on, though, because it doesn't sound like you actually even believe your arguments. It just sounds like you're up here to say, I don't care. And you know what? I can't make you be a good person. That's true. But I can point out that you're being a hypocrite. And you agreed with us, so I guess we're done here. I'm sorry if you guys wanted to continue with him, but it just sounded like he wanted to keep just talking. He just kept landing on, I don't care. And it's like, well, then you're a lump of dirt and I don't want to deal with you anymore. I'm looking for diamonds. People that are actually open-minded.
Yeah. And he understood what we were saying. You know, he'd be like, I agree. And yeah, but there's always that button. It's like, no, just acknowledge it and like try to absorb that. And he doesn't have to do that in this moment. We know we're not going to have people go immediately vegan every time here, but hopefully we at least planted some, you know, some of those mustard seeds, as the church likes to say.
Do they say that? The mustard seeds?
Yeah.
Yes.
we have.
That's so funny.
I've heard that
You know,
too. When
I
was a
actually have
Christian.
I have mustard weeds in my yard, and oh my god, I hate them so much. They get in there, and you cannot get rid of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same thing, but they're called mustard weeds. They're terrible because they dry up and they're really woody. So then there's just like a bunch of these sticks in my grass. So you can't walk in the grass; you get stabbed.
Yikes.
It's terrible.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
I'd
hate 'em.
assume it's different because there's mustard greens that we can eat. Like I've
Right.
eaten them, kind of like how you make collard greens.
Yeah, we can eat dandelions too, and people don't realize they can make tea out of that, and it's very good to eat everything.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't drank it yet, but I do have. I do have like dandelion. Oh, it's backwards.
Why
Oh,
not?
cool.
Yeah.
Dandelion.
Oh, this one.
Nice. There
There
you
you go.
go.
Now you can see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
But yeah, you can just collect your own dandelions too.
exactly. As long as there's no spray on them. That's
Right.
exactly right.
Mm, yeah.
Anyway, should we talk to someone else? See if there's someone else that might be open-minded.
You have a few people.
Right on.
Yes, Sleepy. Some of us are pro gardening, as you can see her username.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I come in with a fog too. Homemade TV,
Yes.
TV.
Hello?
Are you over 18?
Yes.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Why am I not vegan? Because meat is nutritious and delicious.
So if I had evidence to show you that you could get everything you needed from a plant-based diet, would you be more open to being vegan?
Probably not.
Okay, so what is it about animals that to you makes it okay to use them when we don't need to?
What do you mean we don't need to?
Well, I just told you you can get all your nutrition that you need from a plant-based diet, so it makes using animals completely obsolete.
Can
So
you
what
get
justifies
can you get all
what
your
just
nutrition without supplements?
yeah, you could. I don't really recommend that. I recommend you take at least a B12 supplement, but yeah, you could if you were careful about what you eat.
Hmm.
There's
So
nothing
what?
wrong with taking a supplement either. Eating the animals, most of them are supplemented too. They're given either cobalt in their grass that they turn to B12, or they're just straight up given a B12 shot. So you're just filtering your vitamins through someone else's body. B12 is made by a bacteria, so
Yeah, but there's also like, other than vitamins, there's also important nutrients within meat that is like
yeah, like what?
necessary.
Like
Um,
what?
Protein,
You
vitamin
get all plants have
B12,
protein.
iron,
You
calcium.
get calcium, iron, and protein all in plants. You can also get B12 from plants like duckweed, mushrooms. You can also get fortified foods. I take a supplement because it's easy and I don't have to worry about it. And I know that I'll be healthy. There's nothing wrong with taking supplements. So, knowing you can get all your nutrition, I hope this doesn't turn into a debate because what I want to talk about is actually the animal ethics. Like, knowing you can get all your nutrition, do you think it'd be a moral obligation to live vegan, or do you think animals are here for you to use just for your pleasure?
Well, they're not used for pleasure. They're just used for food. Like,
So we
even
don't, I just explained, we don't need to. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the largest body of diet professionals in the world, they influence governments on what their little food charts will look like. They state a vegan diet is safe and healthy for all stages of life and is actually preventative to many of our chronic ailments like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, even Alzheimer's. It's safe for all stages: pregnancy, nursing, childhood, infancy, adolescence, adulthood, elderly age. They even mention athletes. It's healthy for everybody.
so if it's like so amazing, why doesn't everyone do it?
Corporations, really, they're telling you you need to use animals when we have the scientific evidence that you don't.
But so we've been using animals for thousands of years. How come we
Yeah.
didn't think of veganism first?
Actually, animal rights advocacy has been around for thousands of years. Pythagoras actually advocated for animal rights and for them to not be used. So that's been around just as long. We've only been farming animals about 10,000 years. But the point is today, despite whatever we did in the past, today, right now, we have evidence that we don't need to use animals at all. So instead of going, well, we've done it always, why don't we make a change for the better? It'd be better for them because they don't have to meet the knife. Be better for us because we'd have much better health outcomes. Be better for our planet because we'd free up about 75% of our current ag land. We could let that sequester carbon, rewild. We could still feed 10 billion people. But the most important thing is we wouldn't be enslaving sentient beings for sensory pleasure.
What about cost?
It's actually cheaper in most richer nations. It's like 30% cheaper to be vegan.
Yeah, but not all nations. What about everyone else? What are they gonna do?
Well, where do you live? What
Oh, I
country
live
do you
in
live
I
in?
live in the U.S.
Then you're fine. You'll have plenty of access to vegan foods.
Yeah, but not everyone has that access, and
I'm
not
not talking to
everyone
everybody. I'm
and not
talking to
everyone
you.
can afford that.
I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to you. If you look at my question, it says, why aren't you vegan? Not why isn't everybody vegan? Why aren't you vegan yet?
Because I just believe that like since like meat has been like a part of the human diet for so long, I feel like
Plants have been too. In fact, we're more related to herbivores than we are carnivores. Our closest relatives in evolution are the bonobos and the chimpanzees, and they're frugivores.
yeah, but we're not exactly chimpanzees. We're different.
I'm telling you that it doesn't matter. You're right. Doesn't matter who we're related to. It doesn't matter. What I'm telling you is the scientific evidence says right now, you don't need to use animals at all. Humans in general can thrive on a plant-based diet. If you live near a grocery store or a farmer's market, you can be vegan. You have options. So what's stopping you? Why do you want to cause animals suffering? Why do you want them to lose their heads?
Well, I mean, also, just because I live in the U.S. doesn't mean I'm super wealthy.
I just told you the vegan diet is cheaper. It's literally 30% cheaper. Oxford did the study.
It's
Go look
30%
up
cheaper.
It's 30% cheaper. It's the beans, the rice, the local in-season fruits and vegetables, the canned fruits and vegetables, the frozen fruits and vegetables, the nuts, the seeds, all of that. That's all vegan.
What about
Pasta, PB&J.
what about environmental factors like global
I
warming?
just told you that we would free up 75% of our ag land. How is that not like the biggest environmental movement we could make?
Yeah, but what
We
about
we feed
importing all of the
92.2
plants?
billion animals. I feel
What,
like we're
what,
going through a list here. You're just like really quickly moving the goalpost. I don't think you're really listening. Do you understand that animals are sentient?
yeah, they're creatures, but they're
What
also
does sentience mean?
they're like alive and they're self-aware.
They're not self-aware. That's not sentience. That's more like sapience, thinking about thoughts. Sentience is more, they're just experiencing the world and they're weighing out those experiences on whether they prefer them or they didn't. They usually prefer to be comfortable and they typically avoid harm. Just like us. We're sentient. And the things that we care about the most, the things that we want respected the most, are our sentience. If we had other fellow humans that were sentient but not sapient, right? They couldn't think about thoughts, but they're like the animals we use. They can play with toys, they can move around and make friends and enjoy the day, but they don't necessarily, understand the world. We still find it immoral to exploit them, right? We see them as us. We see ourselves in them because they're human. And we know they're having their own subjective experience. I'm telling you, with science, we have learned the animals, they're sentient. Sentience is binary. You either are or are not experiencing the world. So since we know if you're experiencing the world, you have inherent rights, why are we exploiting animals when we don't need to? If we were in their position, what would we want done? Would we want the oppressors to keep going or would we want them to stop?
I don't know. I just think like since we're like humans and we have like a bigger brain than animals, we kind of like we're
You have a bigger
smarter.
brain. There are animals that have bigger brains than you.
No, not nearly as complex and smart,
Can
able
you
to
can you
communicate.
navigate the oceans underwater by yourself without making some mechanical system to do it for you?
But
Can
no,
you
but
fly without machines?
no, but can a dolphin get up and
Exactly.
walk around and play a guitar?
Can you climb a tree with just your feet? My point is you're not the most intelligent. You're just the most intelligent in your own biased ways. You can't do the same things that animals do. I doubt that you could survive any environment that most wild animals do. So the point is, despite their intelligence, why don't they also deserve inherent rights? I'm sure you agree that kicking a sentient animal for fun is immoral, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm telling you, because you're just consuming these animals for taste pleasure, it's the same thing. You're taking their life for your sensory pleasure. They don't get to have any more experiences after that. That's it. And you will forget that meal. So what can you do to not demand this? If you don't want to be a part of it, what can you do?
I mean, it's not like I demand it, but it's just kind of like
Do you know what supply and demand are?
I haven't thought about
Okay,
it
so
in a long time, but I know this
when
is
you go to the store and you pick up a package, they're going to replace what you purchase. That means your purchase has straight demand to someone else's life. You pick up an animal product, they're going to put someone else through that system to replace what you've purchased. And usually they do more, right? They not just replace, but fill more in. So they pay attention to where your demand goes. If you go into the store and you purchase plant-based products, they're going to decrease how many animals they breed into existence because they don't want to lose money. They're going to focus on what you purchase. So you have a lot of power.
I'm just one person though.
You can save 100 to 300 animals a year from being forced into existence. Imagine you had 100 animals standing behind you. It's a lot of individuals. Each one, just like you in the sense, like if you were standing in a crowd, you're still an individual. You still care what happens to you. Those 100 individuals, each one of them feel that way. Everything
So,
matters to them. It's their life.
so your issue is just you think that we're killing animals unnecessarily. Is
I
your
think
issue?
we're using animals. We're using them. We're literally enslaving them. We see them as resources instead of sentient beings.
Yeah, but they're not like people. They're animals at the end of the day. They're completely different from humans.
You know, that's really no different from any other random discrimination, right? What trait does that animal have that morally matters, that makes it okay to stab them, but not humans? Or just
So,
use them? What makes it okay to use animals, but not humans?
okay, well, I actually have a question for you. So, other
Can you answer
animals,
that first? I will
what?
honestly answer your question, but can you answer my question? What
Oh,
is that trait?
okay, wait. Can you re-say it?
What is it about animals that makes it okay for us to use them without their consent, but but not okay to use for humans? So what are humans missing, or what do humans have? What is it that makes it okay in your mind to use animals, but not okay to use humans? What is it? Is it a trait? Is it
Humans?
intelligence?
What do you mean to use humans? Like kill and eat other humans?
Yeah, why not?
Cannibalism, I mean, that's just wrong because you're
Why is
killing your
that?
own kind
Try to use
when you don't
unalive
need
instead of the
to.
K word. Try to use unalive instead of the K word. It's just TikTok rules.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So
so
it's
when you're unaliving a human, why is that immoral?
because they're like another person, like maybe you've like met, or like, I mean, they're just another person. Their life matters.
Right. They're having their own subjective experience, right? They care about what happens to them. Does it matter how intelligent that human is?
No,
Does it matter what they provide for society?
no.
Does it matter if they can reciprocate morality or not?
I
Like they're
guess
not
not.
hurting anyone, but they just can't always think morally. Like children do things sometimes that are immoral. They'll purposely hurt animals or bugs, but they're not bad individuals. They just don't understand morality. Do you agree then we still shouldn't exploit humans that can't reciprocate morality?
Yeah, I guess not.
Okay. So then what is it in your mind that is special or unique about animals that makes it okay to enslave them and use them without their consent?
Well, how can an animal give you consent?
Well, they can't,
They can't. So they can't talk,
right?
right? They can't talk to us.
Is
No animals can
is
talk to
lack
us.
of is lack of consent? If I had a human here that I couldn't communicate with, that couldn't consent to what I wanted to do to them, do I now have the right to do what I want to them?
No, but that's different. That's a human. That's a human
And
life.
what's the difference?
The difference is if that human could talk, they could actually communicate, and
But they
they're
couldn't.
people.
Okay, so why can't you imagine that with the animals? If they could speak, they would tell you, I don't want to feel harm. I don't want to do things that I'm being forced to do.
I mean, yeah, but
So
it's just also
so
how
just because
this.
you can't hear it, does that mean it's okay for you to do that to animals?
No, but so just okay.
Right.
So can I ask you my question now?
Yes.
So there's a ton of other carnivorous animals in the
Hmm.
world, right? So like wolves, lions, tigers, they all eat meat. Why is it
Hmm.
okay for them to eat?
I wouldn't say it's moral, but they're surviving a harsh environment. They're doing whatever they were taught to survive, what's kept them alive so far. And they're what we call moral patients.
Okay.
So they don't understand morality. They might have some idea of morality. In fact, a lot of the times when we take animals out of fight or flight mode, they show signs of compassion, morality. But when they're out in the wild, they're just surviving this harsh environment. and they don't have access to grocery stores. They don't have time or the capacity to weigh out what's right and wrong. We as humans do. We have that capacity. We're sapient. And with that comes kind of responsibility, right? Because an adult that can weigh out what's right and wrong is held to a higher standard than a child, right?
I guess, but so if we've been living off meat for like thousands of years, why should we change?
Because animals are sentient, they have the capacity to have their own subjective experience. And with that, they have this interest in continuing to live. So if we can recognize that, we know for a fact that we can thrive without using them. Why continue to do this? Why cause someone suffering when it's unnecessary? I know it's convenient. That is the harder part. A lot of people just walk in a grocery store, but that's because they have hypnotized you. They know how to get your attention. They know how to sell you something. They tell you humane, grass-fed, cage-free. You're going to paint a picture in your mind. You're literally making the commercial for them in your head. But when you actually learn, if you go watch Dominion, you actually learn what those labels allow, what is considered humane, grass-fed, cage-free. What do those labels mean? Instead of making it up for them in your head, go look at what it actually means. And ask yourself, do I want to demand that? And if you can't relate with the animals that are in there, imagine if they were dogs, because they're just as sentient as dogs.
But they're not dogs. They're cattle.
But they're just as sentient. They're just as sentient.
Domesticated
Some
for
countries,
10,000 years.
Some countries eat dogs. Some countries see dogs as cattle. They literally raise them and eat them as they were cattle. Why is it any different?
That's a preference thing.
See, it is. It's preference. You're agreeing. There's no difference. There's no difference.
I don't. But there is a difference, because something
for the same reason it's immoral to do horrible things to a dog. It's the same for cows, pigs, and chickens. Do you know what nociceptors are?
Suffering and then just killing them for a resource that you need.
It's the same thing.
How is it the same?
First off, you don't need the resource that comes from them, but it's the same thing as just causing abuse for sensory pleasure or kicking them for entertainment. That's all the same thing. So you don't need to do it. You can get all your nutrition from some other source. I can kick something else for my exercise.
So you're saying killing a cow, like cattle, for food, or unaliving a cow and eating it and using its resources for your benefit is the same as kicking a cow and like beating it up.
Well, I'm saying you're escalating the violence. Which would you rather have happen to you? Be kicked in the shin or your head totally removed? One, you get to continue living. The other, you don't.
Wait, so you're justifying the kicking?
I'm saying if you think kicking a dog is bad, which I agree, I'm telling you, escalating the violence to removing their head is worse.
Yeah, but I don't understand.
Okay, let me put it this way.
You're using violence.
Why can't I unalive a human painlessly? Why would that be immoral?
I mean, it's just wrong to kill another human, but also it's just...
And why?
It's torture. Because they're people.
No, it's not torture. I said they wouldn't suffer. They have no idea I'm there, come out of nowhere. They've lived a great life, right? They've no suffering. And all of a sudden, just gone. Is that moral that I do that to that person because I want to eat their flesh?
Yes, because they're humans, and I don't believe in cannibalism. And also, I think it's also not beneficial.
Why is that immoral? Why is it? It's not. It's fine. It's just as risky to eat human flesh as it is to eat animal flesh. As long as you cook it, it's safe, and you don't eat the brain. We're more similar to animals than you think.
I mean, humans also unalive other humans in wars and
right, but
violence.
We're talking about what's right and wrong, right? We're talking about being the better person. We're not talking about what happens in the world. We're talking about what do we think is right and wrong. Do we think it's right that we put people in war? Do we think it's right that we exploit humans? Do you think that's moral?
No,
I agree with you. It's not. So I'm trying to say that the animals are no different. They just have a different shaped body and slightly different priorities. That's it.
All right.
And you're
Well,
saying because they're not intelligent or they look different, I can take their life. It's okay. It's no big deal. I can't hear their consent or not. It's okay.
yeah, my final thought is I think that cattle and livestock are a good source of energy and food, and that's what they should be used
They're
for.
actually not. They're destroying the planet. We're going to burn if we don't stop animal ag. All solutions to have a greener planet involve eliminating or greatly decreasing animal ag. Currently, animal ag takes up 83 of our current agricultural land. That's for them, their food, and their pastures. That's including factory farming. Factory farming exists because of small farming not being efficient enough. These large pastures that they claim are the right way to raise these animals will not meet demand. Currently, we're only getting 1/8. So they take up 83% of our ag land, okay, most of it. They're giving us 18% of our global calories. Tiny, tiny sliver. Okay, so we're wasting all of our water, all of our land, all of our resources, and we're emitting greenhouse gases like crazy. If we eliminated animal ag, we would reduce land use by 75%. That means we'd feed the planet on a quarter of our current ag land. We could feed more people. There's only 8 billion right now. We could feed 10. So veganism is absolutely more sustainable than using animals in any fashion. And even when you talk about doing it the right way, it would only supply us maybe 6% of our calories. So you're going to starve more people so that you have higher quality flesh. That's what your argument is. I'm telling you, those beings are all sentient, factory farmed, backyard farmed, all slavery. They all want to live. And it's not right that you force your purpose on them just because you want to lick their insides. I hope you go watch Dominion, though, okay? Go watch Dominion free on YouTube. Okay?
All right, you can kick me off.
Okay. Well, you have a great day. I appreciate you coming up. You asked some good questions. If you do watch Dominion, please come back and talk to me. I'd love to hear your opinion if anything has changed. It's free on YouTube. It just shows you what those labels mean. It's not a gotcha film. This is what you're demanding. Did you guys want to say something and I just totally blew past that you unmuted?
You were doing
No, you're
Oh,
fine.
good. Okay.
You just got
You were covering everything.
got a lot of
There's
people
nothing
in
that
the
he said
queue.
where it caught my interest.
Yeah. You have like 5 people in the queue. 5 or 6.
Throw one up.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh. That was a long one too, but it had some good questions. Thank you. I love my little tooth too. It gives me personality.
That's
Hello.
right.
Hey Moon. Hey Moon
Hey, how's
man.
it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Are you over 18?
I am.
Good. Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
I'm not vegan simply due to the fact that animals don't think the same with other animals. I mean, typically, you put it this way, if you have a cat or a dog and you are unalived in your own home, nobody's there, who's gonna clean up your mess? It's gonna be your cat or your dog. They don't care.
if we pass away in their houses? Is that what you
If we
mean?
pass away in our house,
Yeah.
yes, in our house, and we have animals, and those
Yeah.
animals don't get let out and we don't get found, we get eaten by those animals. It's the same
I
concept.
mean, humans would do the same thing. We have evidence of humans being in dire situations where they ate each other.
Yes. And
Alright.
I'm not disagreeing with that whatsoever because it's a natural
Okay.
thing. When you are hungry, think about the people who, our ancestors, okay, biggest example, they were hunter-gatherers. Yes, they ate berries, they ate vegetables, they ate fruits, but they also hunted for meat because they needed it to grow their population. Yes. Can we survive on plants alone today? Yes, we absolutely can. But it's not going to make anybody say, you know what, I'm not going to eat a steak because a plant can supply everything it needs for me.
What is veganism?
Veganism is directly eating nothing but plants staying away
No.
from killing animals.
No. Veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. So we happen to have a plant-based diet because that doesn't exploit sentient beings. We're not
Okay,
against
well, cows.
unaliving. We're not against unaliving animals. We're against exploitation.
Okay, so if I'm in an area where the only thing I have to eat is a cow and nothing
What's the cow eat?
vegetable-wise, no berries.
What does
What's
the
that?
cow eat? What does the cow
The
eat?
cow eats plants.
What did
cow
the
eats
cow
plants.
eat in the winter?
What about the rabbit or the squirrel or the fox
Yeah.
or the deer or the bear? What
What
about
about
the
them?
animal that decided to come into my village and
Okay.
He
We're
lives
here
in-
talking.
And he
That's
has
what
a
he
cell
says.
phone? And he has a cell phone. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about animal rights. Vegans absolutely believe in self-defense. We're not against self-defense. If someone comes at you and is trying to unalive you, you protect yourself. Animal, human, doesn't matter. You protect yourself. I'm absolutely behind that. No vegan would ever tell you to just give up. Veganism understands defense. Also, in dire need. If you live in an area where you don't have access to healthy foods, no one's going to hold anything against you in the sense of survival. I mean, if I were in an extreme state, I could justify eating a human baby to stay alive, right? But in our society, when I have choices, it would be immoral for me to exploit babies just because it helped me survive at some point. So your argument about survival means nothing. As you said, we can thrive off of plants. If you have access to a grocery store or a farmer's market, you have options. If you're just worried that you're not going to get all your nutrients, go to Challenge 22. It's a great free resource. You can talk to dietitians that focus on your area and what's available to you, and they can help you. But you have to want to be vegan. You have to see animals as sentient individuals who do not deserve to be exploited, and you're trying to find the best way to avoid harming them. That's veganism. You're muted. You can unmute yourself. Okay. I just want to talk to somebody that is receptive.
I'll try harder.
Oh no, Lori!
Let Sarah take a chance.
Lori, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's just who's there, right? Like,
yeah, right. I'm trying to bring him up in order, but okay.
No, you just bring them up in whatever order you feel fit. That's fine. You're not. It's not. It can't be your fault. It's their fault. They're the ones coming up here to not be receptive. I'm not here to debate, guys, just to be clear. I will be rude. I'll talk over you sometimes. Yeah. But I'm not here to debate. I'm talking about someone's inherent rights.
Yeah, it's outreach, not a debate.
Exactly. It's outreach.
Of course, they don't want to get that part, though.
No, they have to come up with the same exact questions over and over and over and over. Or religion.
Yep. I don't know if Jonas is going to work.
Yeah, is it showing like a clear square for you as well?
Oh, no, it shows me the little spinnies. Oh, something happened.
It was just clear for me. Glitchy.
Is he back?
No, he left.
Maybe he left. Yeah.
There was a moment, though, it made me do the puzzle piece just now. That's weird. Like I was inactive or something.
How you doing?
Hey, Dan, are you over 18?
Yep. I like your
Right on.
your nose ring.
Thank you. So why aren't you vegan
There's a
yet?
symbol behind it?
Nope. I just like
Alright.
piercings. When I was younger, I just got every piercing I could.
Oh, I thought
And I
thought
kept
there
some
was
of
a
them.
symbol behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said something really interesting earlier. You said the animal take 80% of the land and produce only 20%. That's really interesting for me.
Yeah, 83% of our ag land, but they only give us 18% of our calories.
Yeah, I'm on this topic. I'm not really educated, but as far as I know, like the farming, it take a lot take a lot of effort to sustain same calories that when you're gonna farming when you're gonna go farming, you're gonna burn more calories than that you're gonna produce. So
What?
that's why
What are you talking about?
um about why the reason what is the reason people eat animal, right?
For
It's like
calorie,
it's
but you just eat enough calories, you'll get all your needed protein. If you want to pay attention to nutrition, nutritionfacts.org has what's called the Dailey Dozen to make sure that you
right,
get all your needed nutrition.
right.
So
What I said is people figure out like in the old civilizations that they burn more calories than they get from the same plant that they plant in it. Do you get
are
what
you
I mean?
saying that they're not eating enough calories and they're burning more than they're consuming?
No, they're gonna produce less, so that's why they're gonna eat
I don't know if I
animal.
understand what you mean. Okay, so eating plants does not give you enough energy. Is that what you're saying?
No, you're not gonna have the same energy that you
Isn't that what I
burn.
just said? Isn't that what I just said? You're not going to have the
It's
same
really
energy from
similar
eating.
and
Are
seem
you
really
saying eating
confusing.
plants gives less energy? Are
Uh,
you saying they
by
eat animals for energy?
no, what I'm saying is the energy that you burn while you're planting the plant.
Oh, they use machines to plant plant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We grow more plants for animals, right?
Yeah, I do understand, but the logic by we eating the animal, that's why. This is the logic
But we
behind.
don't need to use the animals. We can get all the energy we need from plants,
Right,
even while farming them. We will not burn all of our energy farming plants.
right. So
Okay.
in the modern day, we don't really have this. We don't really have this issue anymore because of the machine.
Oh, are you talking about this guy was talking about the past?
Yeah, I mean, like
Oh, okay,
this
I
is the
see.
logic behind eating
I mean, we
animals.
did a lot of things in the past, and I just
Yeah,
don't
I
care
do
to focus
understand.
on it.
But right
Yeah.
now, like if we don't need like if it's not the same on the veggies are more efficient, it would be more common sense if we're gonna be like vegan, you know?
Say it one more time. Maybe I didn't really quite understand.
As you say, like it's really efficient right now, the farming.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more common sense if we're gonna be
Oh, I
vegan.
see.
Yeah. So
Yes.
a lot of time when I see people talking about this topic, they just forget about like back like 200 years ago. They need the animals to
Mm.
balance the calories
I mean,
because they burn more. Right.
there were still societies back then that did figure out how to farm plants and get all of their nutrients from plants. I'm pretty sure Japan had like, I don't remember how long the time period was, but they had a long period of time where their whole culture was around not using animals and they thought it was below them to use animals. So there are cultures that did figure out how to get all of their energy needs. But I do agree with you that yes, there were obviously many farms that were still using animals like in winter times when plants were harder to cultivate or find. And
Right.
that's right. That is absolutely part of our history. But
Yeah.
yeah, as you say, today we can live off of plants now, so let's
Yeah,
make the
I
switch.
do relate. I do relate to that because I'm from Iraq. I'm originally Sumerian from southern Iraq, where the agriculture is created over there. So I know like a little bit why we eating the animals. Why the reason we eating the animals? It's
Of
not
course,
because
yeah.
we are not humane, but
Oh,
for a really long
well,
time, we need the animal to balance that.
yeah. So the thing is, a lot of the times in our culture's history, everyone's culture's history, we started to repeat things as a culture because it was cultural. We wanted to remember things instead of doing it for necessity. So I think, like, for
Exactly.
example, my culture here in America is to overconsume. So instead of seeing animals as the sentient beings that they are and only using them if in a state of survival, instead they see animals as just a product now and to be used whenever. If you're going to use them at all, why not use them all the time? So because a lot of cultures just see them as resources, you know, they just continue that. They don't. But we're here to. That's what vegans are here for, is to kind of shake people up. Like, hey, there may have been a time when this was necessary, but it's not anymore. So
Right. I
like,
totally
let's
agree with
update.
you. I
Yeah.
totally agree with you about that when you're saying like people forget what is the original idea behind that.
Right.
So they think it's just a cultural things, but some people they still know what is the logic behind that. So I hope I was like a little bit helpful because I'm not really vegan. I'm not really
Mm-hmm.
into anything, but what I'm seeing in a lot in this stuff. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just hope that I've been helpful here.
Absolutely. I'll give you a resource. Why you should watch Dominion, because you sound like a very kind soul, and I think you would agree with us. But maybe just watch Dominion. See what it is that you pay for when you do occasionally participate in using animal products. Because even a little bit, you're still demanding someone's exploitation. But you sound like you actually genuinely care. You sound like you're vegan at heart. So I would just recommend to you, maybe go watch Dominion, and if you watch it, come and talk to me and tell me if anything's changed for you.
Cool. I will. Thank
Yeah,
you.
awesome. Absolutely. Appreciate you coming up, Dan. Thank you. You
Sure.
brought up some great points. Thank you. All right. Well, oh, perfect. Okay. Well, I appreciate you bringing up. I do understand, and I hopefully everyone else understands that people were in a time of desperation when they used animals for the most part. Clearly, cultures continue because it was something to remember our previous generations. But, you know, celebrating our past shouldn't come at the expense of someone else's experiences. Shouldn't exploit someone to celebrate our culture, you know. I wouldn't want to be exploited to celebrate someone else's culture. that would be terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Awesome. Do you want to bring up someone else? Let's see, where are we at in time? Wow. Time is flying. Hour 13.
Hello.
Hey. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. How do I pronounce your name?
Bjelkaren.
Is it alright if I just call you Karen? I feel like my American accent will just butcher your
Sure,
name like
sure.
crazy. Okay.
Sure.
I'm so sorry. So are you over 18? You said, I don't know if I already
Yes.
asked you. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Because I believe my mental health have benefits from eating meat and chicken.
Oh, your mental health?
Yeah.
What does it do for your mental health?
I believe humans have this thing because we've eaten meat for so long. Humans.
Oh, so it's just a general
sleep.
thing?
So I believe the mind have a preset thing. So when we don't eat meat, we go into a survival mode, and then our mind maybe ends up say low.
I haven't eaten
energy.
animals in years. Do you think that I'm suffering from that?
I can't tell. I don't know how you feel.
Do I look like I'm in
believe
fight or flight mode?
Kind of.
Okay. I'm not. Most vegans are fine. They might get upset if they're talking to non-vegans, but my mental health is fine. Okay, so you don't have any scientific evidence. This is just what you think? You think that vegans have bad mental health?
No, it's not my only reason. I have
Okay.
one more. About, I believe being vegan kills more lives than
How so?
eating meat. For example, in the avocado and almond industry, bees and insects,
You a Pierce Morgan fan?
millions. Yeah,
Oh my
actually, I
God.
saw that TikTok right when I scrolled to you.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay. So
millions
almonds
of
are
bees and
and
insects kills.
avocados. Hmm. Who eats
Yeah,
more of almonds and avocados? Vegans or omnivore people?
what?
Who eats
You
more
repeat?
avocados and almonds? Vegans or omnivore people?
I believe vegans.
What percentage of the world do you think is vegan?
Maybe like 0.9.
So you think the world is 0 point something, and yet we're eating all the almonds and avocados in the world.
No, mostly.
Okay. Oh,
I eat
mostly.
avocados
So
too, but not that much.
0.8% of the world are the only ones eating almonds and avocados. How many people don't eat avocados or almonds at all?
Just said no, but mostly.
I don't think your math is mathing here, friend. Omnivore people eat way more
It's
avocados and
just an
almonds than
example.
vegans. It's a terrible example. It's a terrible example. What do the animals you use consume?
Grass, hay.
Just grass. Oh, right, exactly. Hay, straw, probably wheat, corn, soy. Yeah. It's a lot of plants that are grown in monocrops, right? What about all those animals that are killed in those fields, eaten up by the combines or predated upon when they're pushed out of the fields?
I don't live in America, so most of the animals bait outside. So
Well, my point is that you're pointing out these animals that are harmed in crop production or just around crops, but animals eat more crops than humans. So if you genuinely care about animals passing away in the production of plants, then you should stop using animals as they consume the most plants.
as I just said, they bait outside.
What?
I don't live in America. All of the
That's okay.
animals I eat bait outside, eating grass from the ground.
Well, that's not a
canisters.
common thing to do year round. Typically, like around winter time, they have to have fields that are harvested for them so that they can eat inside because the snow will cover up their nutritious food. Grass is also not exactly, the grass is also not typically the most nutritious food for them. That's why most animals are raised on grains because it gets them fatter quicker. If you just feed animals on grass, they also take more other resources like the land, the water, and obviously the food I just mentioned. So that's why factory farming is so popular, because it reduces all of those resource uses and produces more animal flesh. So your farm is maybe 1% of all animals being exploited.
In the winter, the farms are in the summer, the farms are harvesting hay, drying it, making hay balls, storing it, feeding it in the winter. There is no.
So the whole point was when they harvest those grains or whatever that you're feeding the straw, when they harvest that, there's animals living in those fields. So you're also to the cows. So your argument, let's pull it back. The whole thing that you said was avocados and almonds and that it's bad for the environment, right? You're saying that we're killing a bunch of animals. Well, I guess you didn't say the environment part. You just said that we're unaliving a bunch of animals more than people who consume animals. I'm telling you, people who use animals are actually compounding the problem. So if vegans are eating things that I don't eat avocados or almonds. So I don't know what that says about me as a vegan.
Example.
I eat kale. I eat beans. I eat rice. I eat I don't really eat bread anymore. I eat rice flour. I'm trying to do gluten free, but yeah, plants. I eat plants. I don't eat typically almonds and avocados because I don't know, avocados are so tricky, and almonds, I don't know, they're kind of boring to me. They're not my favorite nut. I prefer to eat walnuts personally.
Or if you take rice for an example, it's made in
Okay,
Asia,
look. I want you to answer a few of my questions instead of pointing out my hypocrisies, because what you're doing is the appeal to hypocrisy fallacy. Has nothing to do with veganism. Why aren't you vegan? Why aren't you vegan? You, not the world, you. Why are you not vegan?
Oh, yeah. I'm not vegan because I believe, for me, it's better for the environment, for me.
I just told you it's not. It's not.
Okay, listen, I live in Sweden. Shipping...
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Shipping vegan products like beans, rice, that don't grow in Sweden, come from Asia.
Oh, I'm gonna look this up. I don't think you're right. And even if you import it, it's gonna be cheaper than animal products because animals emit way more greenhouse gases. And again, the environment is a ridiculous argument. Go look up reducing food's environmental impacts through producers and consumers. That's a study that looked over thousands of farms in hundreds of countries and found that we are using so much land that it takes so much energy even to raise animals. It's absolutely pointless. It's environmentally friendly to go vegan. We would reduce our land use by 75%. Our greenhouse gases for agriculture drop by 75%, if not more. It's equivalent to all transportation combined. Okay, so environmentally, veganism is better. But I'm talking, even let's say it's worse for the environment. What I'm talking about are the animals that are sentient. You don't need to use them, and you can eat plants. Let's say that we're talking about human slavery, and it's better for the environment to enslave humans. Should we continue to enslave humans?
No.
Why? I agree with you. Why?
Because it's not morally right.
Why is it not morally right to enslave a human?
Okay, because we're using them.
Yeah, but why? What is it about humans that we're trying to not exploit? What about them? What are they experiencing?
Trauma.
They're sentient, right? They're having a subjective experience, and they're weighing out whether they like them or not. They usually avoid harm, and they want to be comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it'd be wrong to enslave humans because they are having their own subjective life, and they have their own purpose, right?
Yeah.
What if they're not intelligent? What if they're not smart? They have no way to give back to society. Would you still find it wrong to exploit that human? They're not intelligent. They're very dumb.
No.
Okay with exploiting humans?
No.
Okay, so you agree then, despite their intelligence, it's immoral to exploit this human, right?
Yeah.
Even if they're not intelligent.
Yeah.
Even if they can't reciprocate morality. Maybe they're just living life. They have to be taken care of, but they're not hurting anyone. Would it be okay for me to exploit them?
Yeah, but I don't see your argument in veganism.
It would be immoral to exploit them, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so despite their intelligence, I just want to go over what we just said. Despite how smart they are, despite their ability to give back to society, despite their ability to even be able to understand things and be sapient. They're not sapient, they're only sentient. If they are sentient, that's all we care about, that they're having the subjective experience. I don't care if they're intelligent or what they're able to do. I don't have the right to invade their autonomy or to use them because they're human. I know they're having an experience. When you look at animals, I know it's harder to see it because they don't look like you, but they're sentient. We have scientific evidence that animals are sentient. They too are weighing out their experiences.
Okay.
So if we want our sentience, hold on. If you expect your sentience, your anatomy to be protected and not invaded, you have a moral obligation to reflect that same respect to all sentient beings that have the similar capacity, experiencing the world and have a capacity to suffer. Does that make sense? Did you hear what I said? I'm not just talking to the air. I want you to actually hear me.
Yeah.
What did
hear
I say
you're
then?
saying.
What did I say?
You're talking so fast, so long. I'm just zoning in.
Okay. Animals
No,
have the
I
capacity. No, you
something
don't.
of
You don't get it because you weren't able to say it back to me. If you're able to say it back to me, I know you've heard me. Animals have the capacity to experience the world and the capacity to suffer. Humans have the capacity to experience the world and suffer. Why are you okay with causing animal suffering, but not humans when we morally matter the same?
Okay, stop right there. I believe, okay, if we take cows for an example, that are in a cage outside in the summer, just for an example, I believe their life is pretty good. I don't see.
That's slavery. They're
No,
enslaved. Just because they're nicely enslaved doesn't mean that it's any less immoral. They're
I
still
don't believe
enslaved.
if they would have a choice
If
to go
if they didn't
outside
do
or
what you
inside, I don't
wanted,
think it
if
would
they
matter
weren't,
to them.
oh God, does anybody else want to talk to this person? Because I think I'm going to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's not really, maybe there's a communication issue with him just literally not being able to process fast enough with, maybe the language difference. But I would like to ask him, do you understand the traits that we use to justify eating and using animals, and the similar traits that we used to exploit and oppress humans? Like what it is about them that makes them different from us, that makes it okay for us to oppress and enslave them.
I feel like, okay, take my earlier example. I don't
I mean,
think
just
it
like
would
list a few
matter
traits
to
that
them
maybe we would.
if they
As,
could be able to go outside the what's it called?
okay, so basically, like when comparing human slavery to animal slavery, it's more so that we're trying to touch on the oppressor mindset. It's not so much that we're like truly comparing, exactly the same way what we've done to humans and animals. However, in the same way, the oppressors have decided that, like when we enslaved Africans in America, we justified it by saying, well, they're less intelligent than us. They don't feel pain the same way as us, so we can, do awful things to them and experiment on them and harm them. They're subhumans. They're not really fully human. They don't feel the same ways we do. And we also place those traits on animals. We incorrectly decide it's okay for us to exploit and enslave, use and harm animals because they're less intelligent, they're less feeling, they're not worthy of the same moral consideration, which is not true.
But okay, I don't know if you know how farms look in Sweden or how we treat animals in Sweden. In a difference from.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because, like, veganism wasn't even necessarily a response to the more extreme, like, factory farms that we have now, or these more violent, aggressive, and fast-moving practices that we use. They were a response to smaller farms, to the so-called humane methods. Veganism was a response to the unnecessary use and exploitation of animals and the lack of moral consideration for them.
Okay, let me say this. I believe cows, for example, have a perfectly fine life. They don't feel any. No, listen. I don't think they would actually give a fuck if they were outside their little place in the farm.
I mean, how
or
much time
if
have
they
you
were
spent
inside
with cows?
baiting on a kilometer
Have you
long.
spent much time around cows, like observing them, trying to understand them?
Yeah, I lived on a farm.
Okay, but are you maybe more so leaning into this conditioned mindset of, not considering their wants and needs and preferences and maybe seeing them as things to use?
No, I've seen.
Well, I think you are. I disagree. I disagree. I mean, because you're literally saying, you know, they don't care about certain things or they don't feel certain things. And they definitely have a complex inner world. Like they're definitely, you know, maybe not in the same way as us, but they're similar in the ways that matter. You know, they're still feeling and conscious.
Okay.
They're having thoughts.
Do you
They're
wanna
making
know
memories.
something
They're
very
experiencing the
cool?
world subjectively, and we should consider that.
Okay, do you want to know something cool? The cows that we were breathing out. No, what the giving birth, or you know, how the cows that we had, they were walking freely, totally freely in the world. Came back, ate, walked out, went into the forest, onto the field, came back.
So did slaves. So did human slaves. They were conditioned that they had no escape.
So they can just go out if they didn't come back.
Yeah, some slaves
No
did.
one would
Yeah.
chase them. So
No, that sometimes there were slaves that were given abilities to go shopping for their owners. They were able to go about the world. They weren't always in chains in the fields.
Okay, I would say it's not about not doing it at all. I would say it's about doing it.
The point
right.
is, you do not need to do it. If I had a dog here that I was kicking, would you tell me do it in a nicer way, or would you tell me to stop?
No. Why? It's not like I'm kicking the cows.
I get exercise from it. I get a benefit.
If the cows are walking freely, they can leave.
It doesn't matter.
They want.
Doesn't matter. They still meet the end. Doesn't matter how nice you are before that. They still get this.
Okay.
That's wrong. That's immoral.
They're going to.
I mean, couldn't it make it even worse if they trust you to be kind to them, if they trust you to let them walk free, and then you trick them and you betray them, and you know, in the short amount of time that you allow them to live, you ultimately on their last day slit their throat or, you know, put a bolt to their head, however you do it. Isn't it kind of worse in a way where you build this sort of trust with them to an extent? You know, you give them a bit of autonomy and then you betray them. Why? Why do you have to do that?
Them. It's like
them, yes.
killing a dog because they are in pain, or it's like because
no, but the cows are not in pain, right? These are healthy young cows, right?
2 years before they are going to die naturally.
Not the same thing. We need you to recognize.
It's the cows are killed 1 to 2 years before they are dying naturally. They don't have a lifetime to live. They don't have a lifetime of.
Okay, how old are they? So, how old are they when you take their life?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember it was.
Just give me a guess.
I thought this was your farm. I thought he said he was on a farm. How do you not know every step? That tells me you don't know what goes on your farm. I've talked to so many people like, I'm on a farm. And then I tell them, you know, for dairy farms, for example, I'm like, oh, they separate the calves. They're like, I had no idea. You're on the dairy farm and you don't know that?
Yeah, so it's like either they're not actually involved or they're, I don't even know.
Like, okay, wait, okay. Let me just, we moved like 4 years ago. So, I don't know what you expect me to like.
So how old do cows get?
Like 20 maybe. 20.
They can live to be over 20. How old are beef cows unalived? How old are beef cows unalived?
Ooh, I think they were around 20. Okay, yeah, in America. This says, why are you yet vegan? Not why is everyone.
So you're going to keep a cat. So how many pounds of, how many pounds of food does a cow, okay, good. Because the thing is, so a cow can eat around like 100 pounds of food or, you know, grass in a day or whatever you're feeding them. They can eat like 100 pounds of that in a day. It's not efficient. A farmer's not going to invest those resources into a cow for 20 fucking years. Exactly. It's not going to pay off.
Exactly. That's why I kicked him. Like, okay, you're clearly lying.
Yeah.
He's lying. There's no way that anybody is going to keep a cow unless they're a sanctuary. No one will keep a cow that long. Unless they're a dairy cow, they might keep them for a long. There have been cows that have been somehow able to continue reproducing for a long time, but no one on a farm is keeping a cow their whole age, especially for beef, because their flesh becomes more gamey and tough. So that's why I don't think he knows what he's talking.
Yeah, he wasn't being honest with us.
No, or he just didn't know, and he's trying to cover his tail. Some people do live on farms. They just genuinely don't know what goes on in the farm. They just see the animals out on the grass, and they're like, "Oh, they look happy." Oh my God, you have no idea what goes on. Anyway, I just get frustrated when people, he constantly kept referring to the welfare, and it's like, if you care about their welfare at all, why cause them any suffering? It's unnecessary. That's what we were trying to get to.
And when you've made it clear multiple times over that you're not going to accept the welfarist arguments or statements or whatever, and they keep making it, it's like, are you fucking listening at all? No.
In a circle.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lori, did you want to bring up another one? I don't know if she's there. I'll go ahead and bring one.
I could bring up one if she's.
Oh yeah, if you want to. I always get nervous about pulling people in.
Again.
No, don't bring him back up.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to. I just thought it was silly that he. Oh, this one might be gone.
I know. It does. Some people do that for some reason.
Yeah, that guy's gone. Let's see this one.
Oh, Justin worked.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Hey, Justin. That's okay.
Not me.
Request backup, Jonah.
Hey, Justin. Are you over 18? Hello? We can't hear you if you're talking. Justin? Aww.
Yeah, show me a clear box for him.
Yeah, it says he's in, but there's just no sound coming in. Hey,
Hello?
Jonah.
Hello.
You over 18?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Like most people's answers when they join these lives, health, and much like your guys' opinions, I don't agree with capitalist depression. My form of lifestyle is very different from most people's you've had in this live. I live in Alaska. I live a subsistence lifestyle. I hunt wild game. I eat wild game that don't get fucking fed a bunch of steroids and aren't forced into pens. My food is healthier than any vegan food I could get in the stores because it doesn't have any GMOs. It doesn't have anything. I live a wild lifestyle. That being said, I do have a couple problems with the arguments you've made earlier. Hay is not a cash crop. It is grown on 80% of ag lands.
Yeah. Most animal food is subsidized though. Most soy and corn are fed to animals, and they're like the most monocrop fields. So like it's 80% of soy and I think 60% of corn. So yeah, I did say hay or straw, but it's mainly actually soy and corn, those kind of crops.
Yeah. I had an issue with that. I think it was a little misleading because, hay. Animal
feed is taking over our planet. 83% of our ag land is dedicated to raising animals for their flesh and secretions, their food, and their pasture land. 83%.
That is a misleading statement. That's a misleading
Look up the study, reducing the environmental impacts of food through producers and consumers. That study went over thousands of farms and hundreds of countries and found all those stats that I gave you.
I know what you're referring to. I have read it. What that also quantifies is if I, as a farmer, grow hay on my farm in the 2 months of summer before any of my other crops can grow, before I start growing corn, before I start growing my other cash crops, all of a sudden my entire farm is now only producing, since I did hay one time, it's now ag land for producing food for those animals. Although that was only 2 months of my growth cycle. That's what I was saying. Hay is an intercycle. That's what I'm saying.
You can grow something else.
Listen to me. Hay is what I grow when I have nothing else to grow in between my other seasons. That's what I was saying before is.
Okay, I don't care about your job. To be completely honest, it doesn't justify enslaving someone, okay? I genuinely don't care. But there are sources for farmers if you want to transition before this great cutoff, because I guarantee there will be a point where it will be impossible for you to continue growing food for animals, because it'll be unlivable in this world to raise animals. It'll be too expensive. So if you want to jump before that, my resources would be Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. They could probably help you focus on growing plants that are more human-centric. Maybe there's something you've overlooked, but they could help you. It's called the Ranchers Advocacy Program, and they help farmers transition from animal-based farming to growing something else or doing something else with your land. So there are sources for you, but as far as enslaving animals or using animals, I don't care that that's what you have to grow. It does not justify putting sentient individuals into slaughterhouses or farms, for that matter.
I sat here quietly, listened to your point. I didn't interrupt you at all. You didn't listen to a single thing.
I will interrupt you. It's my live, and if you can't handle that, you can leave. Okay.
Sure, that's fine. I'm just saying, you made that whole point without listening to what I said.
You're not listening to why my live is here. I'm not an environment about your growing system. I care that these animals are being enslaved. They don't need to be.
Okay,
we can have a greener planet without focusing on growing foods for animals. We can grow foods for humans.
Okay, I understand that, and I don't eat meat from the store because I agree that is oppressive. And
yeah, okay, so another point. No, I'm going to add one more point before you start, because you like to just throw in random things and then make your point, and I just want to answer, it's still not moral for you to be hunting. I want to be clear that the animals we're raising, the mammals alone that we're raising for people to consume, make up 60% of the mammal biomass. Wild animals make up 4%. So you're touting going out into the wilderness and wiping out what tiny wildlife we have left. That's not impressive. It's sad. It's heartbreaking, really.
You don't know more than biology.
Especially, okay. If you're going to be stupid, you can get out of here. I don't care to talk to you. I don't need to be a biologist to know that enslaving someone is immoral. I understand you really want to make your point that you can't grow something else on your land, but that's just because you're not considering something else. You aren't in the mindset of, oh my God, I'm supporting an animal holocaust. You're in the mindset of, oh, I got to make the most money because I live in a capitalist society. You don't need to manage the lands. We have conservationists. They have other tools in their toolbox to use they can manage the wildlands better so that you don't have animals invading your animal ag. In fact, that's usually the problem, is it's these wild animals coming in on animal ag land, and the farmers want to shoot them. So it's either the predators or the deer, right? They're all coming in and effing up the farms. But if we stopped using the animals, we'd have all this land that they could take up, and we could feed everybody on less land. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. Well, and he mentioned biologists manage the wild land. Yeah, biologists have to contribute to conservation efforts. Conservation is a direct response to the destruction that hunters and ranchers have caused on ecosystems.
Yeah.
Really digest that, Jonah.
Exactly. What? Refuse to talk to someone that speaks English? What a weird thing to complain about. What a weird thing to complain about, too.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to add, Jonah, if you live in an area where you're taking animal life, I imagine if it was for survival, you would feel bad for taking these animals, but it sounds like you do it for fun. So part of me wonders, did you move out there on purpose to do this? Or is it that that's your community? Because I get the feeling it's not your community. You moved out there to be like a homesteader or something, and homesteading is absolutely a privilege. Something you have to have money for.
Mm-hmm. Harmsteading.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Actually, have you followed that there's someone called Harmsteading. Have you seen them?
No.
Oh, their name is Vegan Postmortem, and they do a lot of great content. They actually follow homesteaders, and a lot of these homesteaders have forums that they message to each other about, how do I unalive this animal, or how do I raise these animals to be slaughtered? And the comments are chilling, and they don't even realize what they're saying and how gruesome it is until you read it out loud. You're like, oh my gosh, you made that comment to the public? Ugh, oh my God. But that's
for
homesteading for you. Yeah.
What's their name again? So I can look them up later.
Vegan post mortem.
Okay, gotcha.
VPM. It might be under VPM now too, so.
Okay, similar to how they do that, I've read through a bunch of hunting forums, and it's not the picture that hunters try to paint when I've done some outreach like against hunting, or advocating for wild animals. They want to make it sound like it's wholesome and it's conservation and it's quick. It's a quick, easy death. But then I see them on the forum saying, "Oh yeah, sometimes I have to wait like 30 minutes or 2 hours for like the deer to bleed out before I can go get them, to make sure they don't run off before I can get them." And
wow.
Not to mention the horrible pictures of arrows and coyotes facing. It's sick. And the traps, it's all sick.
It's not until like, I don't know, like a lot of times it takes people having companion animals to see these other animals and go, oh my God, why are you doing this to them? Because it's like, if we saw dogs with arrows in their faces, which they really look no different, it's just...
Yeah. A canine is
people
a canine.
Lose their
it's
minds.
all the same.
Exactly. They all feel that. Yeah. I don't understand hunters when they say they respect animals. It's like, then why are you adding to the death toll?
Exactly.
Like, why aren't you speaking up for alternative methods?
Exactly. And I can at least, I still don't like it or respect it, but when I've spoken with the ones where they admit that they're okay with taking a life and they're okay with, the darker parts of it, and they just don't feel empathy for the animals. At least they're being honest. I don't appreciate when they try to chalk it up to conservation or, oh, it's just tradition. It's family. I used to do it with my dad and it's this special sweet memory. It's like, no, it's blood sport.
That's their cognitive dissonance. And when they're first learning about hunting, to not just point your gun at random animals, right? You're taught to always point your gun down if it's loaded, right? You're never supposed to point it around. There's a reason. We're all supposed to agree, don't cause unnecessary, but then they forget that when they get out there and they're just focused on taking out the one. I don't know. It's crazy how much they like flip-flop on their head about what's okay and what's not okay. They lie to themselves and say it's a necessary evil, and then they deny the joy that they're like getting out of exploiting someone. It's I do also appreciate honesty, but at the same time I also am like, wow, you're a disgusting human being.
Yeah. Exactly. And then also a lot of them have this story of, well, my first unaliving of a deer or whatever, I felt bad, I was sad, maybe I even cried, but then my dad or grandpa or whoever told me not to feel bad about it, and so I've detached now. And it's like, your natural instinct was to care and to feel bad and to want to protect that animal, not destroy them.
Have you seen Christspiracy?
I have not. I as much as it's mentioned, I need to get around to watching it.
That's okay. That's okay. It's I don't know if it's free yet. They do have like a website for everyone to go watch it, but they do have a part where they're following a kid who goes on their first hunt with their grandfather. And it's interesting to watch this kid's reaction because he's in a family of hunters. They're all about, they even do this weird ritual where they wipe blood on their faces after they do the kill.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to watch. I know. But it's interesting to watch this kid's experience, because later, like right after his experience, they go to like a dairy farm, and he's like, he acknowledges how similar these baby calves are to the deer running out in the field or out in the forest. And it's just, it's a very telling moment that I'm sure most hunters went through. Like you just described, they were like, they had that moment of regret and pain, and I didn't want to do this to somebody. And then it was just told to them over and over again, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And then they just accepted it as normal.
Exactly. Or like T-Money here says, my dad made me take a bite out of a deer's warm heart. Yeah, that's a thing too. And it's like, why though? Why?
Yeah. Why? Oh,
it's just
terrible.
Rituals.
And what about it when you're looking at that heart looks different from a human heart? I'm sure their hearts look very similar to ours.
They do.
So heartbreaking. Yeah. I hate what parents do to their kids. Hey, is it
Hello.
ghoulish org? Are you over
Yes.
ogre?
I
Are you over
I'm
18?
yeah, I'm 21 years old.
Right on. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Because I just don't think it's necessary.
Okay, well, do you know what veganism is?
Yes, I do. It is to not exploit animals and not to eat animals. Just in overall to protect animals and not exploit them.
It is about avoiding exploitation of animals. It's not necessarily about protecting animals, although most people that go vegan would like to protect the animals. But that's not.
Yeah.
Veganism is just a principled stance against that exploitation. So I'm just advocating that people don't demand animals be put into these systems to be used. So what
Yeah.
stops you from doing that? Why don't you want to be vegan?
Because I just personally don't want to be. But I have there's two things I want to go across with you, if that's fine.
Sure.
So the first one is the argument you made about the human being that doesn't have the same capability to provide for society, and they shouldn't be unalived or blah blah blah.
Exploited, yeah.
Yeah. So that is exactly why we have society, so that we can take care of our own kind.
But why do we care?
Why not? Because they're our own kind. They're our own species.
But
We take
why?
care
Why
of
do we
our
care?
species, just as like a monkey does.
Why do we care about our same species, though?
Because that's just natural instinct.
So, could I offer an answer?
Yeah, of course.
Is it because when you look at another human, you can kind of see yourself in them? You know that because you're having a subjective experience, they're most likely having one
because
too?
they're human.
Yeah, but why does that matter? Why don't I look at humans as a rock that I can just walk over and do whatever
Well,
I
some
want
people
to?
do. Some people do.
Yeah, but
And they're usually
why
not
don't
willing
you?
to.
Why don't you?
Because I don't look at
What
them
do
like
you
that.
value in humans that's worth not exploiting?
Because they're human. That's just my species. I've given you the answer. I don't know what you're saying.
Because it's a ridiculous answer. It's white supremacists said the same thing. They said, this is my group and you're outside of my group. Therefore, I can exploit you. This trait that you have that I don't makes you lesser than me. Therefore, I am your oppressor. So what is it about animals that makes them so different that makes it okay to exploit them? Please answer. What makes it okay to exploit animals but not humans?
It's very interesting that you brought up white supremacy when I literally
Can
did
you answer
not
my
say
question?
anything. Yeah.
Can you answer my question, or are you just going to get distracted?
No, I'm going to answer it. Don't worry.
Okay, so what is it that morally separates animals and humans that makes it okay to exploit animals but not humans?
Because they are not as sentient.
Sentience is binary. Go look it up. It just means you either are or are not experiencing life.
They are just not as sentient. I recently
So sapience is what you're talking about. You're talking about their intelligence. So what if I had a human that wasn't intelligent? Why do I care about them? They're going to provide me good for free.
I just brought that up. That was the first point I made.
You can't answer it, though. You literally just keep saying they're human. That's called begging the question. You're like using the word to give it the definition. Why are humans special? Because they're human. Do you see the circle?
I mean, you're the
If you can't answer, it's fine. I understand you're too stunted. You don't want to open up. You really like abusing animals. I get it. I get it. All right. Well, if you're against abusing animals, I have a dog here. I'm going to kick them for exercise. Is that moral?
You keep bringing that one up as well.
Should I? Is it moral? Is it moral?
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead. That's fine.
You think it's moral to kick dogs?
You're the one who keeps bringing it up. It seems like you.
Do you think it's moral?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
God, you really have a puddle for a brain. Terrible. It's so funny how badly people want to be right. They're like, I'm just going to say the abusive thing. Now what? Can't tell me I'm right or wrong. No, you're being speciesist. You're using arbitrary traits just like a white supremacist. You are. You're literally saying they're not as intelligent. You said sentient, but you meant sapience or intelligence. They're not smart. Therefore, it's moral for you to do what you want to them. If you think kicking a dog is immoral, removing someone's head is worse. It's funny that they've been here this whole time, haven't absorbed a damn thing. Like, just solid here. It just does, nothing can get in there.
Yeah.
Just solid, no activity. It frustrates me because it's like we're talking about rights, inherent rights, and all they can do is sit there and be smug about, I don't mind if someone suffers for me. It's like, you don't sound like a big person. You sound like a coward.
Yeah,
you don't really want to recognize that what you're doing is wrong. Yeah. Even though you mentally probably catch on, you just don't want to admit it because you've got too much of an ego. I get it.
Right.
Still go watch Dominion, you know? If you're not too triggered, go watch Dominion. Go look up what you demand. These people kill me. Or they unalive me. I shouldn't say that kind of. They just frustrate me to no end.
Yeah.
Damn TikTok lingo. All right, just call me. I'm not going to call you that, actually. I'll just call you Just.
For sure.
Are you over 18?
Yeah.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
I tried it, but it's just expensive.
It's actually not. It's 30% cheaper. Do you want to be vegan, though?
Nah.
Okay. Do you know what veganism is?
I mean, you guys just talked about it in the live, so pretty much.
I know, but I have no idea who's listening and who's not. So it's funny that you listened, but you didn't listen. So veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. So that means I don't want to demand someone be enslaved or used without their consent for me. So with that in mind, why don't you want to be against exploitation?
I mean, I'm not doing it.
Do you use animals?
I'm not doing it.
Do you use animals?
In what way?
Do you consume them, wear them, watch them for entertainment, wear cosmetics that are tested on them?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that's moral?
I mean, it's been done for thousands of years, and...
Is it moral?
I mean, no, but...
You're the first person to actually answer that honestly. Thank you for being honest. Yes, it is immoral. You're right.
Yeah.
Do you feel good about supporting it?
No, but I mean...
Well, that's good. I'm glad. You know what? I just for a second, I want to applaud you. Most people have been saying that they're okay with this exploitation and they feel good about it. So I'm glad to be talking to someone who's not psychotic. That's good to know. So I'm glad you agree that it's bad. What do you think you can do to stop supporting it?
Well, I'm not gonna do nothing because, you know, it's just life and everything. But good thing there's
Do you know what supply and demand are?
Yeah, but I'm not trying to get all into that.
So when you go to consume an animal, you're putting in a demand. Even if you're at a place that it's free, you're telling that individual, I like this. I like the way it was produced. Make more. So they replace what you demand. It's your demand that pushes animals into the system. So why do you want to keep doing that?
Well, to survive.
What is it you think you need from animals?
Pretty much everything. They give us life, such as bees and all that. You know, it's just the role of life.
Wait a second. You said eating animals gives us bees?
No, just like they play an important role for all of us.
Okay, so what is it that you need from animals that you can't get from a plant-based diet?
So we need cow shit, right?
No.
Yes, we need cow shit. Yeah, we need cow shit. Yes.
No, we can do what's called green manure, where we make plant composts, and if you do specific plants, you can get different types of compost that provide the exact nutrients that you need. I actually have a veganic garden. I know 2 vegan farmers that are on TikTok. You can go look them up. They also grow veganically. It's absolutely doable. We can have a vegan crop system. Absolutely. In fact, the animal inputs are holding us back. The only reason that we still use them is because we unalive so many animals. We use and unalive so many animals. We have so much of their crap. They produce more than a city. So we have to do something with it. So we have to put it in our soils. But guess what happens? We get disease. So we could stop that and just use plants.
Yeah, that's true. I'll lie.
Yeah. So, what else? Is there anything else that's like holding you back? Maybe there's like a question or some concern, some nutrient?
Just the way we all grew up and all that,
Yeah, I definitely did not grow up vegan. My family still doesn't approve of my veganism. I try to talk to them, but they don't care to always listen. So, yeah, most of us are that way. Most of us don't have vegan family. We just recognize that this is wrong and that we don't want to support it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's akin. It's not the same thing, but it's very similar to abolitionists, right? Abolitionists saw humans being enslaved, knew it was an injustice, and knew that they had a voice that could be used to speak up for these individuals that were being ignored. So that's how vegans feel. They feel that there's a victim, and that victim is crying out for themselves. They're trying to speak up, but no one's listening. Like every time you listen to slaughterhouse footage, it's not quiet. The animals are not going silently into the darkness.
But
they're calling out, but we ignore them. Say it again.
There's no point of looking into that, like for real. Only
why not?
People, for what?
Because you don't need to do it. Like if you were buying dogs, right, to cuddle, and you found out that they were in this kind of a slaughter or like a horrible puppy mill, would you keep supporting that puppy mill?
I mean, it's already going on, like in China and all that.
Person.
I mean, no, because there's thousands and thousands of other places to buy.
Right. But that's my point, is that you can change your habits. You don't need to support these farms that are doing this to animals, or these companies that are doing this to animals. You can buy something else. You can eat something else. Yeah. I know it sounds overwhelming. It sounds like you're open, and I actually really appreciate being open. I would just push you to watch Dominion. It's free on YouTube. And maybe if you're worried about nutrition, go to Challenge 22. You can talk to dietitians, and they can make you feel, they actually help you find the vegan products that are in your area, that are in your budget, and that fit your specific needs. And they'll actually help you meal plan, all for free. And it's just through email, so it's not super invasive. It's just a really great resource. I push anyone that's even just slightly curious about going vegan to go to Challenge 22, because they also give you a group that you can talk to of other people that are new to vegan. And you can talk about your obstacles that you're all running into, and sometimes someone can help you. You can talk to each other and help each other in hard times. There's also just dietitians always available that you can ask your nutrition questions to. Hey, I'm worried I'm not getting all my protein or X vitamin, whatever.
Yeah,
but you have to want
good, like it's hella good though.
I mean, how many vegan foods have you tried? Because most of the time, flesh foods only taste good because of their seasonings. So it's just a matter of seasoning something.
Low key, the only things I tried is, of course, lentils and the possible burger and all that shit,
Okay. I mean, there's so many plant-based burgers that you could try, but you don't need to eat those.
Yeah, I already tried that. I did not like it.
Well, I guess I go watch Dominion first, because personally, going vegan without wanting to do it for the animals is just a diet. You're just trying to eat healthier. That's what most people think of when they think of veganism, is just avoiding animal products. But when you recognize these animals are just like the dogs that people keep in their homes, or the cats they keep in their home, and those animals have inherent rights to live, to not be abused. What's the difference between these other animals? Why are we doing this to cows, pigs, and chickens when they feel the same? They want to cuddle. Some of them even purr, like turkeys purr when you pet them like cats. These animals are all the same. Why don't we eat dogs and cats? Because we recognize that they're sentient. We don't hang out with pigs and cows and chickens. Maybe go to a sanctuary, go visit some of these animals and see how sentient and sensitive they are.
Wait, so Dominion is a movie or what?
It's a documentary. It just shows you standard practice. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And it's what has to be done to get those animal products. It's the bare, it's just, what do these standards mean? What does cage free mean? What does that allow and what doesn't that allow? Like, what are those rules? And, you know, when we are in the store, we're often, like I said, we paint the picture in our head. We're doing the commercial for them. You should go see what they actually are allowed
are
to
there
do.
plant-based like boot wear, like boots?
Oh yeah, yes. I have so many vegan shoes. Let's see, I'll grab a couple of them. My boots are kind of weird though, but they have just black ones too. So these are, I have like, mine have a space theme on it, but these are totally vegan. The brand is somewhere. Oh, it's so worn away. Well, the boots, I don't know the name. These ones though, they say vegan on the shoe. They're Super Dry is the company. And then
Would
I
they
have
last
also
in
just,
harsh conditions or what?
yeah, these are just, I don't know, all of my shoes, these are definitely 2 years old, these shoes. These shoes are probably about 3 years old. And they're kind of worn. They still fit really nicely. I don't have a problem with them. I also have like, these are more of like my work shoe. They also are the same brand.
What about like working boots, such like for the blue collar workers?
It's called the vegetarian boot or something like that. I don't know. These were what I would do if I were you. If you're looking for a word, go to ChatGPT and ask it to look up, do an internet search and find all the vegan boots, because there's always new stuff coming out. So I don't even know what's even out there anymore. Hey, Wolf of Peace. But if later, like if you look for stuff and you can't find anything, you can message me and I'll help. I'll like look up stuff for you too. I don't mind doing that.
I feel like things like that would be like triple the price of like traditional leather boots, no?
They shouldn't be, unless you're getting them from like really far away or something. I don't spend a lot on shoes. I don't remember how much those were. Like I said, they're years old now, but I don't spend a lot on clothing. The most that I've spent is like, I got a bunch of shirts like 3 months ago that were printed up. That's like the newest thing I have.
Wow.
There's vegan stuff all over the place. Every day I see a new vegan company, especially clothing companies. So you'll find vegan shoes easily. And if you can't, I mean, secondhand isn't terrible. You can go to like a thrift store and find some good working boots. I would argue, you know, even if you had no other choice, the point is of veganism is as far as practicable and possible, which just means the best you can in your life. Veganism is not a gang. Like there's no one making sure that you meet all the criteria to be vegan. It's about what you want to do. You know, when you're looking at shoes for work boots, you know, I don't know if it's because it's specifically your job or you just prefer those boots. And you have to ask yourself, is this choice I'm making absolutely, do I need these boots? And do I have options? If you only had the option that was made out of animals and there was nothing else, personally, I would go to a thrift store, because that's already at least decreasing the demand, and buy those shoes that way if I have to cross my principles. But it's a personal thing. What are you willing to do? You know, what are you willing? Is it worth it to you to cross that principle, to take someone's entire life so that you have that footwear? And that's what veganism is doing, is weighing out, like, do I really absolutely need this? And if I don't, can I live without it? Can I find an alternative?
Yeah.
It's about what you want to do, what you want to support.
I mean, probably just gonna keep doing my own thing, you know, just eating meat, medium rare and all that.
Will you at least watch Dominion?
I mean, watch it or not, it's really not gonna change any perspective that I see.
If you watch it, I just would love to hear from you. Even if it doesn't change your mind, if you watch that whole thing, I totally want to just hear your opinion. Even if it's just to say, I'm still gonna do it. I would love for you to watch that and reach out to me. Would you be willing to do that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, why not? I mean,
thank you. That's all I ask. Just go
right.
watch that Dominion, and then you can private message me, or you can pop back up on my live. I'll write down your name, that way I make sure that I don't pass by you. But yeah, you just sound like you're one of the few people I've had up here that actually sounded like you understood. And I think that maybe it just feels overwhelming, or so. I just want you to go check out Dominion. I appreciate you coming up, though.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you around. You have a good day. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks. We're so close, guys. I thought he was right there. And maybe, you know what? I wouldn't have changed my mind from one conversation either. So that's what the resources are good for.
Exactly. We're just trying to encourage them to at least begin thinking differently and considering the animals and trying to respect them.
Yeah, totally. Should we? I was thinking about going maybe another like 50, maybe going to like.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you guys, I don't want you to feel trapped up here because you've been up here the whole time. If you guys need to leave or want to leave or just want to step down to the comments, that's totally fine too. Like, I just don't want you to feel pressured to stay the whole time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do have to step out in a little bit, but
totally
I'll just
fine.
hang out for now. Whether we're contributing
whatever
or not,
you want to do.
we're just chilling.
Exactly. I appreciate you guys just being there too.
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to grab someone, or I can just throw someone up?
Sure.
That way you guys don't have to feel pressured. I'll throw someone up.
Okay.
Omni-Man. I did see you've been begging a lot. We'll see if you're a child. Omni-Man, please be over 18. Oh, are you there? Hello?
So I am not over 18.
Oh, I'm so sorry, hon. I appreciate you coming up and being honest, but I cannot have you if you're under 18. Ask your question in the chat. Oh, these might be old requests.
Yeah, so I guess while you're checking those out, if anybody wants to request stuff, because it looks like a lot of the requests are old, so.
Dang it.
Oh, Kate says she's here. Is Kate in the requests? I don't see
Kate,
her.
come on up. I see you. That's so weird. Sometimes it doesn't show you or Lori my full guest list. That's so weird.
Yeah.
She said the same thing. Hey, Kate,
Hello?
Are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Hi. Perfect. Wow. You guys have the same voice. I couldn't tell the difference. Sorry. Go ahead, Kate. Sorry.
Well, so your initial question is, why am I not a vegan, right?
Yes.
So, I have something called latex fruit syndrome, where I'm allergic to a majority of plants and vegetables and fruits. So how do you think could I still technically be a vegan when I literally cannot eat?
Yes. But it depends on what you want to do. Like, do you like supporting animal abuse or animals being used, I should say?
I mean, for the most part, I try to do things that are cruelty free and like not tested on animals, and I try my best to support local farms if I can, and that kind of stuff.
If you had two products, let's talk like, do you wear makeup?
Yes. Or no,
okay,
not
so
anymore. I can't anymore.
Okay. That's okay. So like a shampoo or conditioner?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got, let's say, a conditioner. They're both equally going to clean you and give you the scent that you enjoy. They're basically the same. The only difference being one of them was tested on animals and the other one wasn't. Which one would you find it to be a moral obligation to choose, or would you find it to be a moral obligation?
Yeah, I would choose the one not tested on animals.
Right. And do you feel that would be a moral obligation to choose that to avoid the unnecessary harm of the animal?
Yes, but then
Okay.
I don't know. I guess I also like. I'll be honest. I live on a ranch. I just got married to a rancher, and so like when we're out with the cattle, I try my best to like encourage them to treat them properly and not to treat them poorly. And because like my brother-in-law is kind of a douche.
That does happen.
We like, I don't know. I try to encourage that we treat them properly, and
why do you encourage that?
because I believe that not that I don't think they're equal to human, but I believe that they do still have feelings, and
right.
like
they're still sentient.
Yeah, and but limited with my latex fruit allergy, and if I continue to eat those things, I'll become completely anaphylactic to them.
Yeah, I don't want to advocate for you to hurt yourself. I would never advocate that. Yeah. Well, do you feel that people that don't have your condition or don't have that situation, if you saw somebody that did have all their resources, could get everything from a vegan diet, would you find it to be a moral obligation for them to live vegan?
I mean, I can't, just like you can't tell.
I mean, I wouldn't tell you to tell them what to do, right?
Yeah.
But would you see that they should be vegan?
I maybe wouldn't push them to be completely vegan, but like to look at where their things come from and decide what morally is best for them. Like look at how, like for me, like I've always been conscious of where my cosmetics come from because I felt like that was a really important thing to me. And just like I didn't shop at Walmart for 4 years because I believe that they're unethical. But now that I live in an area where you can't, where literally the only grocery store I have that can provide me is Walmart. So yeah.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's what they did, right? They went out into those small areas and they knew they were going to dominate. Yeah.
So
I would say, personally, I think if you have all your resources and you can get everything from vegan or from a vegan diet, you should be vegan. I find it to be a moral obligation. And the reason, as you said, is because the animals are sentient. We have scientific evidence that humans thrive not using animals. So I'm advocating for the animals because, they have the capacity to suffer. And I personally have the capacity to suffer. If I want that respected in me, I feel that I need to avoid demanding someone else's suffering. If you wanted, let's say, to avoid using animals, I understand that you have the latex fruit syndrome. If you wanted to be vegan as best you could, because all you can really control is yourself. You can tell other people what you've learned, but you can't control them, right? So I would focus. I understand you're on a farm and that you're married to a rancher, but you can still make choices on your own to avoid using animals. And then from there, you can teach other people what you learn. Since we don't need to use animals, I'm trying to stop. I'm not here to advocate for you to advocate for animals. I'm just here to tell you to avoid using them. I would say maybe go to Challenge 22 because you can talk to dietitians.
Yeah.
And they're plant-based. You've reached out to Challenge 22 or you just looked at the webpage?
I looked at the website and I doubt that they would understand.
I dietitians
live 3 hours away from a Starbucks. Like,
I mean, you have a Walmart, so you do
my
have
Walmart's
options.
An hour away.
Yeah, that's okay. You can so the question comes down to, do you want to use animals or not? If you find it to be a moral obligation to avoid using animals, that hour drive is no big deal. You're going to figure out how to store your grains and all your other foods. Like, do you eat bread?
Yeah, so I don't eat bread because wheat is part of the cross.
Oh, one of the things you can't eat.
Yeah.
So what is it that you do eat?
So I tend to stay on the carnivore diet and eat mainly hunted animals and beef.
Does it concern you at all that they're finding that people on carnivore diets are having high heart disease? Does that concern you?
I pretty much find it inevitable no matter what I eat because I have a
A
family
vegan diet
history.
can reverse
Yeah,
that.
but
They're one of the
you
few
can't
diets to do so.
guarantee cross contamination with a vegan diet. Unfortunately, my syndrome,
Oh,
I can't have cross
so
contamination
what
because the more you're exposed to the environmental allergens, the worse your allergy gets.
Okay, so I would not, again, I'm not advocating that you eat the things that make you sick. What I'm advocating is that since you're not really sure what to eat, you can talk to these dietitians, but it sounds like you don't even want to be vegan. Because I told you, if you talk to them, not just go to their website, they're dietitians. That means they have 2,000 to 8,000 hours focused on how nutrition affects your health. Doctors have maybe 2 days worth, 48 hours. So 2,000 to 8,000 versus 48 hours.
Yeah,
So
I've worked with, so I haven't worked with those specific dietitians, but I have worked with dietitians before, and they found it
these
impossible to
dietitians,
work around my diet.
did you say I want to be vegan? Is that what
They
you said
find
to
it,
them?
but they do find it impossible to work
You
around.
didn't answer my question.
No, I have not.
Okay, so what I would prefer.
Okay, so I'll go and do that if you will have me back on to talk about what they tell me.
Oh my God, yes. Oh,
Okay.
I absolutely would have you back on. Yes. And if they tell you that you can't do it, that's totally valid. I would love to hear your experience.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Challenge 22, it's really not that, it's just through email basically, but they give you the option to be a part of either a Facebook group or a WhatsApp. I think you get the option of either app.
Mm-hmm.
And there's dietitians that you can talk to in there. Tell them your situation, and they'll be honest. If they can't help you, they're not going to put you in danger. So yeah, and please come back. I would love to talk to you. Love it, love it.
Yeah, I'll have a conversation I've been meaning to talk to a dietitian, especially after that diagnosis, because I didn't have that before, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong and why like every food I ate made my body like angry.
Yeah, I can imagine that being scary. Really. Yeah.
So yeah, I need to talk to one anyways, and I might talk to one of yours and one that I'm recommended by a doctor.
Absolutely get multiple opinions. That's even better. Yeah. Just the point of view though is, not just asking, of course, be healthy, but you want to be healthy and vegan is the point. And if they say, you're going to have to use some kind of animal product, then, I understand, but I'm almost certain they're going to tell you there is a way and they, like I said, they focus on your budget in your area, etc. So
okay.
I appreciate you being so open. Thank you so much, Kate. Really.
Yep. No problem. Have a good day.
All right. Good day. And I look forward to talking to you later. Cool. I will add her name to thing. That's exciting, guys. I'm really happy that people are willing to look into stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Better they have open minds than just.
Yeah. I didn't really know where else to go with her because it sounded like she does agree animals are sentient and shouldn't be used, but she might be under the idea that maybe that's her only option. I don't know. And
yeah, exactly.
I obviously don't have any background to be able to give her full advice, so I'm just like, please let the dietitians help you. I promise they will.
Oh yeah, they will. Definitely.
Yeah.
This guy's been.
And
I don't know.
Oh, please bring him up.
I don't know if he's a kid or not, but I can't tell by.
Hey, Abe. That's okay. Are you over 18?
Of course, of course.
What year were you born?
2008.
Interesting.
Is that right?
Even if it is, they're definitely a kid. They're trying to fake a deeper voice.
They are doing that for sure. I was like, wouldn't that make them 17 though? 2008?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I was starting to second guess my math.
Yeah, 2009 or 16. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was worried I was doing my math wrong. I'm like, wait a second.
I'm bringing up Jack. And I'll bring up another person too if you want. He's really.
Right on.
Is that okay?
Lovely to meet you, Jack. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Nice to meet you too.
Lovely to meet you.
So guys, I found out a way of getting rid of head lice or nits, if you're interested, without any chemicals whatsoever.
What's that?
So you use a normal bobble hat or a winter hat. You cut your hair off, or you don't have to. You don't have to. You can cut your hair off if you're male, and then the mice will go from your head into the hat, then you just throw away the hat. Or you can put if you're a woman and you don't want to cut off your hair, or if you're a male you don't want to cut off your hair, put tea tree in your hair, do the same thing, put a bobble hat or a cozy hat on top of your head, and what happens is the tea tree, they don't like the sound or the smell of it, and they go into the hat, you throw the hat away.
Right on.
Wow. That's pretty
So
cool.
that reminds me, I need to get some tea
animal
tree oil. I haven't
killing or
used it in
anything else
months.
like that. Sorry, I didn't hear that. I was talking over you.
Oh
Sorry.
no, that just reminds me. I haven't used tea tree oil in like months. I need to get some because it's got so many uses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
I don't know if he wants to hang out or whatever, but I've seen him on other vegan lives.
It also helps. Tea tree also helps with body lice and things like that. So, yeah, it's really, really good. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to interrupt. I can stay up if you want me to, or I can leave. It's entirely up to you guys.
You can hang out. I'm fine with that. I will say I do try to prioritize the ladies of my panel, just because sometimes men's voices just carry more than women's. So if they speak over you, just let them talk. But other than that, yeah, please, you're welcome up here.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and Lori, if you want to bring someone else up, that'd be great.
Okay. There you go.
Awesome.
Justin's been waiting a while.
Thank you. Hey, Justin. I think you were trying to come up here before, right? And it just wasn't working?
Oh, no, my TikTok was kind of throwing me in and out. I don't know what was actually happening.
No worries. You're over 18, right?
33.
Perfect. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Because I believe that our position in the animal kingdom prohibits us from being truly vegan. I don't believe in the harm of animals for self-gratification. Therefore, I don't believe in the testing of any like medical or cosmetics on animals. I don't believe in the capturing and transportation of animals for the entertainment industry. But at the same time, I don't think that we as a society and morally, we cannot put ourselves under the ecosystem that we live in order to harm it inescapably that we've already done so.
Do you know what veganism means?
Not abusing, harming animals, or using animals or their byproducts in any way as to be self-gratifying for us.
So we don't use animals. That is something that we do. But veganism is a principled stance against the exploitation of sentient beings. So it's not that we don't want to feel pleasure. It's that we don't want someone else to suffer or be enslaved for unnecessary reasons for us. So I don't want to put my dollar into something that demands someone be enslaved and exploited for me. So I avoid that.
And
that's what veganism
like is. I'm not for all these companies that like test shampoos or chemicals or products on lambs, cats, dogs, ape. Against the cruelty of animals, while still being understanding that we are not the only society that exists on this earth that use farms and meat farms specifically for protein and protein intake for the young, for the middle-aged, and for the elderly.
Yes. So we're talking about just your choices and where you live with being vegan.
Can't choose to ethically source your products, but
why do we care about their welfare? Why do we care about animal welfare?
We care about the humane treatment of animals just the way that we care about the humane treatment of humans, because if an animal is experiencing a life, we want them to experience the best capable life. However,
Okay, so knowing, hold on, Justin, hold on. So knowing that we don't need to use animals, we don't need them for anything, makes using them abuse. It makes their welfare pointless because we're taking their life from them when we don't need to. So if you care about them not being kicked, removing their head is escalating the violence. Do you see what I'm saying? Even if they had a happy life before that, you're still escalating what happens to them by demanding them. You're muted, by the way. The mute button's right here.
Sorry, I didn't realize that. I would say that the keyword there is using the animals, using them for our gain. However, we are omnivores, and there is necessity to utilize. And
like what?
When I say
like
utilize,
what? What do we need?
I mean, like,
what do we need from animals?
If we have to sacrifice an animal, we should use everything that it had.
No, you just skipped the thing. You just skipped it. You just skipped. Why? What do we need from animals? Why bother using them? What do you need from them?
We need the wool from lambs to make our clothing.
No, we don't. I haven't worn wool in decades.
I will say not all. I will say not all. But at the same time, there are certain things like farm acreage wise to meat pound wise.
We don't need animals. There's nothing we need in animals. All your protein, all your vitamins, all your nutrients you can get from plants. We don't need wool. We don't need leather. We don't need anything from animals.
I'm not saying that you can't get that from plants, but
I'm saying we don't. So, Justin, you're not listening. The point is, if we can get it from plants, why are you peeling someone's skin off? We don't need to use animals. Use plants. They're not sentient. Animals are sentient. They feel pain. Why are you wanting them to suffer? I'm telling you, you don't need to use them at all. At all.
On the same principle, you said we don't need to use them at all. If they die of natural causes, can we use them?
You're still seeing them as a resource. No. You're still seeing them as a resource. You're still seeing. Why don't you eat grandma?
We're a hunter-gatherer society. We hunt, we gather berries.
Go ahead,
and
Lori.
Hunt animals.
I was just going to ask them to give you a chance to answer.
Can we not utilize?
That's your question. Sorry.
So what is it that you need from animals that requires us to breed them into existence? Because right now, we could just stop breeding. We could care for the ones that are here until they naturally pass, and then no more domesticated animals. And then we could feed the whole world because we're not focused on feeding these animals.
I understand, and I'm not saying that we should continue the captivity.
So, Justin, I want to pull back. You're getting into this world thing. I want to know why you are not vegan. Why don't you make the choices to not demand animals be put into a system that you wouldn't tolerate going through yourself?
Because I don't think that we are in a position in the animal kingdom to make that choice.
What does that mean, Justin? Are you an adult? Are you an adult? Justin, are you an adult? Are you an adult?
Obviously.
Are you an adult? Can you make decisions for yourself?
Obviously.
Okay, so you can decide what's right and wrong. It doesn't matter what society is. It doesn't matter what your ancestors were. Justin, hush, I need you to listen here for a second. Okay? Doesn't matter what your ancestors did. Doesn't matter what the past was. Doesn't matter what label we've given ourselves. Scientifically, we know we can thrive. That means do better. We can thrive on plants. We don't need animals. You are demanding animals be unalived for no reason. Your excuse is we've always done it. But there's things in our past that we've done. We've unjustly unalived each other. We've graped each other, right? Still immoral, even though our ancestors did it a lot, right? Just because we've done something a long time doesn't make it moral.
I would agree that long term doesn't mean correct term.
Okay, so that's been your argument for using animals. I'm telling you, even though we're labeled omnivore, I know we're labeled omnivore, but that doesn't mean you have to use animals. You can thrive just using plants. There's nothing you need from animals.
Okay, so here's my question back.
Okay.
How many acres of property to make up for 1 pound of meat?
Oh, actually, you can only feed one human on an acre of land if you had animals. You can feed 15 humans if you don't raise animals on that same acre of land.
Yearly growing. So you
Animals
could grow
consume, Justin, think about it. Does a cow eat more than a person?
Like I said, I'm not for
Does
the
a cow
captivity
eat?
thing.
It doesn't matter. Even small scale farms.
Justin, just does a cow.
Yes. Does a cow produce more methane? Yes.
Yes.
So why are we
Does
breeding them
a
into
cow
existence?
have
Stop
growing
breeding them
ability?
into stop
Yes.
breeding them into existence. Stop
I'm
breeding
not
them into
saying
existence. You are
I'm not
when you go
saying
to a store, when you go to the store or any farmer's market, if you purchase animal products from someone who makes them, or if you make them yourself, you're making this demand for animals. We don't need to. You can put the demand in for plant products.
Are you saying that a lion creates a demand for a zebra?
I'm saying that a lion is surviving a harsh environment. Go ahead, Jack.
Justin, right? I've not long been vegan, right? And I say this because I've only been a year vegan. Okay, I've now got an allotment that's on which is a plot of land, which is 10 poles, which is a very small bit of lot. It's about 50 foot by 50 foot. That in 1 year feeds my whole family. So that's 4 people, 4 adults. So yeah, that's just one little bit of land.
And how much would that be to scale up for 100 people?
Well, 100 people, if that does 4, you'll need probably about an acre, maybe less.
And I agree that farming is a great agricultural tool for us to sustain ourselves. Again, we survive off of both meat and plants, and I
Right,
agree.
Justin, though, under the current system, hold on a second, because under the current system where animal agriculture dominates, we have around 2.6 billion humans facing food insecurity, and we have around 700 million humans facing a potential starvation. So is the current system where animal agriculture dominates, is that sustainable? Is that working? Are humans doing well?
I can only say no. I think we should for aggregation for plants. I'm like I said, I'm not vegan, but I understand a lot of the points. I understand that most, if not all, can come from plants, but there is still that point in our hierarchy where we are still we still have to understand that we are a hunter-gatherer species. We are an apex
Okay,
predator.
the hierarchy is irrelevant. We don't have to oppress other beings. We don't have to oppress other humans or animals. We don't have to do that. It's irrelevant.
Too many let too many vegetarian plant animals into an ecosystem. They destroy
you're
the
not you're not balancing the ecosystem. You're domestic. You're not out in the wild. You're not a wild animal or even an apex predator. If anything, humans are hyper predators. We destroy everything in an ecosystem. We do not balance ecosystems. So no matter what you do, even if you're living out in the wilderness, you're not going to benefit that ecosystem. you're going to cause harm to that ecosystem and destroy it and cause imbalance. So let that go. You're domestic.
A long-term service of utilizing the ecosystem to utilize us.
You mean
We fed
exploiting
the
the
plant
ecosystem?
tree. We fed of
Yeah,
everything to
we don't have to do that.
Native
We don't have
American,
to.
actual Native American practices, and you
Are
will see
you okay?
every
Are you Native
use.
American? I mean, even if you are, you don't have to do that. Actually, Lori, aren't you Native American? Indigenous?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you want to talk to Lori and try to tell her how you have to, she's indigenous, so you want to tell her how she has to fertilize the trees with animal bones?
Not once did I say have to.
Okay, so let it go.
Right. We don't have
So
I have to. I said I understand where we live and how we live, and if we do this ethically and with morals and understand that by somebody sacrificing their life to give us nutrients, we should do the best to honor their life.
yeah, so
We are
how is it
doing it.
moral to take a life that you don't have to?
I love that. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I thought you were gonna. So how is it moral to take the life from someone who doesn't want to die if you have to, if you have the option to? So you have access to grocery stores, right?
To take a serial killer's life.
Dude, answer my question. Do you have access to a grocery store?
Doesn't most Americans?
Some don't. Okay, so you do. So you have the choice to not oppress, exploit, and consume animals because you can go to the grocery store and you can instead purchase grains, legumes, fruits, veg, nuts, seeds, mushrooms, whatever. And you have internet access, obviously. So you can look up plant-based recipes, and you can also speak to vegans like us who can help you and walk you through a vegan lifestyle. You're not on your own. You can't, make the excuse of you can't weaponize incompetence. You don't have that excuse. You can choose not to oppress and exploit sentient, conscious feeling beings. You can choose to not take their lives.
Again, if it's a farmed animal, I don't
I mean,
excuse
can
it.
you acknowledge that though?
Farmed
Can you acknowledge
animals.
that
I
you
don't think
kind of
farmed.
understood what I
think
said?
but if you go out and you hunt, I don't think that should be counted against you because that is providing.
Well, I do. I actually advocate against just going out and destroying wild animals for sport or for taste pleasure. We should protect wild animals. They're a really limited resource. But anyway, that's not where you get your food, right? You're not primarily sourcing your food from the wild, right? Hello?
Justin, hello? You still there? Oh.
Okay. Am I
Sounds like he
the
might have
service
gotten
because he was
either.
cutting out?
Jacked.
That's
Yeah.
true. That could be.
That's okay. You guys are just going in a circle jerk with him.
I was
Yeah.
going to say,
Yeah, he's
does he
listening.
realise in hunter and gathering times
Yeah.
how much actual meat they actually ate? Because in my account, but looking back in my history, because I've got documents stating when my great grandsters bought things, they've got like little documents about it. Very, very little, and I mean
Yeah, it
very
was
little.
exactly. They supplemented their diet with it while they still ate plant matter, whether it was tubers, veggies, fruits, berries, whatever it was. The meat was, depending on the location. Of course, if they were maybe in a colder climate, maybe they're eating more flesh, but
It sounds to me that a lot of our ancestry, when there were a lot of plants, they ate predominantly plants. And when it was colder and less forgiving, they did turn to animals because it is, like you say, based on their region, it seems when they're closer to plants, they do dominate in eating plants. So.
Right.
Exactly. And also people make assumptions off of how the world looks now. We've wiped out a lot of the flora and the vegetation and the plants. The world used to look different. There used to be more plant life available to consume.
Exactly.
Right. So thus we were consuming more.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right.
Ready?
Should we do one more? Maybe one more?
Sure.
Yeah, that sounds
awesome. I don't know if Lori, you want to bring one up? Oh yeah, you're already on it. What am I saying? You know.
I just did, but I don't know if he's still there or not.
Yeah, sometimes. Oh, there they are. They FW Katona.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Are you over 18? Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
So I just have two problems with what you're saying. So you said veganism is the exploitation of, anher sentient being, right? For your benefit.
No,
Like
veganism
the
is
against it.
against.
Yeah.
Yes. It's against
So
animal
why?
exploitation in general, not just for my benefit, but just animal exploitation.
Okay, so why do you have a phone then?
Here we go.
I was just because I need to survive my society.
You don't need a phone to survive.
Okay, so how can you point to a direct victim of my phone?
The people that are working in sweatshops in China.
You don't know that that's where my phone was made. You don't even know what kind of phone I have.
I'm pretty sure not like 99% of phones are made in Vietnam, China, or South Korea.
99% are made with
which
slave labor? I don't think that's
all.
true. Can you show me something that says that?
What brand of phone do you have?
I have a Samsung.
Yeah, so those are almost all typically made in China.
No. Can you prove to me that it was 99% made in a factory sweatshop?
Why do I have to give you proof? Isn't the idea of
Because
that just
otherwise you're
revolting
just
enough?
making it up.
Yeah,
no, I need to know that it's true. Yeah, you're just making things up.
So you don't
Show
think
me the
anybody
evidence.
suffers from phones?
Exploitation, I'm demanding a phone. When you use animal products, you're demanding someone be exploited. You can build a phone without exploitation.
You can't have animal products without using the animal.
Well,
you
that's just
have
not
to
reality,
have the
though.
animal exploited.
Yeah, but
I
we
just
can't
told you
just.
what reality is. That is reality.
No.
You don't need, you can build a phone without exploitation. I'm not demanding exploitation. Capitalism is. That's not my fault. You're demanding a product that literally requires someone's body to be hacked into pieces or for them to be graped so that you can drink their titty milk.
So I'm assuming you built your phone by yourself, right?
Are you vegan?
No.
So you demand animals go into farms for your taste pleasure? How do you justify that?
I could ask you the same question.
How do you justify it? Look, if you don't want to have a conversation, you can just leave. So how do you justify using animals?
I don't I think us as humans have like a higher capacity for life. I don't necessarily support abuse, right? Of course that shouldn't happen, but it's just you take a look at, a lot of phone companies. They're doing the same thing in China to even like a higher sentience of being in sweatshops. I just don't.
Sure. Okay, let me put it this way. Oh, go ahead, Lori.
I was just going to ask him a question. Do you know that there is labor by children at this point now in the United States? They are using in migrant children to clean up what they do in slaughterhouses? Do you know that? And we are trying to stop that.
I never said I'm supporting that.
You're supporting it every time you go to the supermarket and you buy animal flesh or eggs. You are
And you're supporting slavery in sweatshops when you buy a phone.
Okay, so do you agree that supporting slavery in sweatshops is immoral?
Yes.
Okay, I agree. So we should stop that. We should build our phones without exploiting humans. Now let's talk about the animals that you use.
You bought
This phone is years old at this point. Yes, we live in a world that exploits humans, but I'm not demanding their exploitation. When you demand animal products, you're demanding, you're not listening. I'm not demanding human exploitation. I don't want humans exploited. You want animals exploited. Otherwise, you would eat the vegan alternatives.
Okay, but if you didn't want humans exploited in sweatshops, why
Is
wouldn't
there
you
a
just
phone that isn't
learn?
built without sweatshops?
So
Is
there
there a phone that
is.
you can point me to? What is that?
Okay, so you just admitted that all phones are made in
No, I'm
sweatshops, which you're
asking
just
you. That's not what I
contradicting
said.
yourself.
I
He's
said,
asking
You
tell
you.
me
said you
my
said
options.
you told me to prove that
God,
they're.
fuck you.
Sarah and
I'm
Jack, you can jump
so
in
sick of
anytime. Oh, there you
assholes.
go. Yeah.
I
Just
kicked him.
on the phone because he
I,
doesn't have anything else to say. He's just using a
I
phone.
know. Go
I
ahead,
was going to
Jack.
say, how much percent of the phone do you think is animals? It's going
Yeah.
to be a really, really low percentage.
Oh, as far as like animal products in the phone, because I don't think that was his point, but that is another thing that people bring up. They've actually switched to synthetic crystals now when they build phones. They don't use animal gelatin anymore. It's just more reliable and it's been, I guess, cheaper. But also, the point is, veganism is about avoiding exploitation. Absolutely, you shouldn't be buying electronics left and right because we do know that there's harm being done. But we live in a society that you have. My partner actually went without a phone for, I think, about like a year and a half. And then he got in a car wreck and he couldn't reach me. He had to use the other person's phone to get a hold of me and get a tow truck and all these other things. Like,
Right,
otherwise he'd have been screwed.
Yeah, that's kind of a life or death situation. A phone.
Yeah, it's serious.
You don't.
Yeah,
But
that's
on
one
top,
of my reasonings. It's a safety issue.
Exactly.
absolutely. But on top of that, if you get a job, the interview usually is going to be over the phone or someone's going to call you, right?
Right.
You have to have some kind of technology to check some email or something. It's just not practicable to expect people to not use technology. And on top of that, as Jack even pointed out, like, it's not even 100%. You cannot verify that this was made 100%. That's exploitation. It is that there's legal minds that are sneaking in, children labor and unethical sourced things. So the only thing that you as a consumer can do is avoid based off of labels, right? And with veganism, you don't need a label. You can see the body part. Like, it's right there. Exploitation.
Yeah, there's no
Someone's
question
body was
where it came from.
no question. There's no question of percentage. It's 100%. And it's guaranteed. You can see it.
Yeah. And people are contributing to it every day, multiple times a day. So many of us,
Yes.
at least with my phone, I use a phone. I keep it as long as I can for years until I accidentally break it.
Until
or
it doesn't
something.
work.
Or it
Yep.
burns out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or sometimes the creators of the phone purposely make them so that they won't function anymore. So you're literally forced to get a new phone. Yeah, you
Right.
can't update them. You have to figure out how to hack them or something. You can get
Yeah.
refurbished electronics. That's a great alternative. Go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, I like to mention with all these things they bring up, whether it's the clothing, the shoes, cars, whatever, like we can buy secondhand, and many of us try to do that as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Well,
You gonna add something,
But I
Jack?
can't buy secondhand
can't.
flesh where a cow wasn't directly unalived for it.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why phone companies do that. They put like limited data or limited thing on it, and then like as the phone gets older, they delapse and like you can't get it. They can stick to the old things. For example, my dad's a radio amateur, and he still has a rig that he built up in the 1960s, and today you can still switch on and it'll still broadcast.
Oh my
So
God,
That's awesome.
and
cool.
he used in the inside is little crystals. So yeah, if they can do it back then, they can surely do it right now. We don't need this specifically technology as such.
Right.
Exactly.
There's
Well,
one.
and oh, is there one more? I'd be willing to do one more, but if
Yeah.
anybody feels like they want to hop down, I don't want them to feel like they need to stay up. But yeah, I'm down with one more.
Okay, I can, or whatever you want me to do.
Oh, please pull up. Yeah, Laura, you do it. You do it. You pick the last person.
Okay. Oh, it's animals in our feed too. Ex-animal abusers in our feed too. Darn.
Oh, they're a vegan. If you want to pull them up.
No
Hey,
vegan.
Noble,
Can we pull them up too?
if you want to,
Ex-animal. Okay.
as long as everyone's okay with trying to take turns.
Oh yeah,
it's not
sure.
going to be perfect. So.
Oh, he's off.
Yes, I am 20 years old.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Oh, I'm trying to become vegan. I'm actually up here because I want to learn.
Hell yes. Well, welcome up. What are your concerns or questions?
So I've heard a lot of about that you don't get as much vitamins when you eat a vegan or vegetarian diet. And I was just wondering if that's true or if there's anything I should supplement with.
You can get everything on a vegan diet. Actually, nutritionfacts.org is great. They have what's called the Dailey Dozen, and it just helps you kind of have an easy checkbox of what to eat throughout the day to make sure you get everything. They do suggest that you take a B12 supplement, which I would encourage too. There is a way, if you wanted to live without supplements, you could, but it's just way easier if you just take a B12 supplement. You don't have to worry about it.
Yes. What does B12 contribute toward? Do you know?
I think it's like your nervous system and your brain a little bit. I don't know everything that it does. I'm not a nutritionist. I do know that it's vital. You can kind of get.
I should probably supplement that then.
Yeah, I mean, if you can also eat fortified foods. You can eat nutritional yeast. You can drink fortified vegan milks, non-dairy milks. There's also like tofu fortified with like your vitamins, zinc, D, calcium. Some of them have B12 in them. Tempeh, things that are fermented, can have B12. Duckweed also has B12 in it if you wanted it from like a plant source. Otherwise, it's just made from bacteria, so that's why people take a supplement.
Yeah. Another thing, this isn't very relevant to veganism, but I know a lot of vegans eat beans, and a lot of people enjoy them. I specifically hate the taste of beans. So I was wondering if there's anything else you could recommend that's maybe I just don't like the texture of the beans.
What about like lentils are they also a problem? Lentils? With like split peas? Okay.
They're not as bad, but it's just like the mushy texture I don't like.
Gotcha. What about like wheat? Like bread or anything like that?
I do like bread, specifically sourdough, but I'm not sure if that's vegan actually.
There is vegan sourdough. I don't necessarily know specifically generally sourdough is vegan. I don't think it is. But just read the ingredients on bread. They always have to list their ingredients. That's just what I do.
But actually sorry. Continue.
I was just going to suggest seitan. Seitan is the protein from bread, but go ahead.
Yeah, I actually recently ate my first ever plant-based steak.
Oh, nice. And how was it?
It was actually surprisingly good. I couldn't really tell the difference between real meat or that.
Nice. Right on. Right on.
Yeah, and I also tried. Guess what I tried as well?
What's that?
I'm actually the same fucker, you stupid fuck.
What?
Wow.
I don't know. Who was that?
What an idiot. Why do they do that?
I don't know, but the thing is...
Yeah, well, he sounded genuine.
I know, that's so confusing.
Wow.
I have no idea what just happened.
He waited that long in the queue to come up and do that. That's amazing. Good job, dude. You waited a long time.
Oh, he was the last dude?
No. There are other people waiting, but he waited a long time.
Yeah. It said in the comments they're saying he was the previous guest as well.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
That's too funny. Well, I think we're going to end it on that note. I think that's the TikTok universe telling me it's time.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you all vegans. Thank you guys for having my back.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for inviting me up and
thanks for coming up, Jack. Thanks for coming up, Jack. Come back again.
Yeah, seriously, I really appreciate you being up here.
One last thing, if you don't mind. I think the other two have
Please.
heard it, but I don't know if you've heard this. Recently I've watched a video, talking about 3 weeks ago now. There's a hunter that's now become vegan. Did you hear about him?
I know a couple of hunters. So I don't know. Is it the empty cages?
No, I don't know which one it is, but he catches bears now. Polar bears, majority. He darts them with a dart gun, uses his tracking and skills that he used to, then releases them like as far as they can out of the city.
Oh, so he's trying to keep the animals from interacting with the humans. Got it.
So I think it's in Alaska. So he's using all his hunting skills to hunt down these bears, then like darts them. I know it's still bad because he's darting them. So he's hurting them.
I understand though
But then he's taking them like 200 miles or so outside and then releasing them again. And
he's doing what's best for them, right? In their best interest.
Yeah. So
wow, that's amazing.
On the good note. Cheers.
I'm gonna look that. Do you know his name at all?
No, I can't remember now because I only caught the one video and I've been trying to hunt it. I can't find it. Can't remember. I don't know how to.
If I find him, I'll send. If I find it, I'll send him to you so that you'll have it. Awesome. Appreciate you, Jack. Yeah, thank you for coming up here. Really, thank you. I really appreciate your backup today. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves, guys. Have a good one.
See you later.
See ya. Awesome.
Yeah, he's
exciting. I'm gonna look that up.
He's a good guy. I've seen him on other lives, and he's pretty smart.
That's fantastic. I need to start watching more lives. I've taken a little bit of a break. I need to start watching them again so that I feel more in the water, because every time I go live now, I feel like I have to like reacclimate, get used to who's out there.
Exactly. That's understandable.
Yeah.
I bounce
anyway.
Out. Yeah.
So next 9 a.m. on Monday, and I'll see you then. Otherwise, thank you guys so much.
You come back and ask questions.
Please come back and ask questions. I would love to talk to you. Awesome. Thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it. And
yeah, of course. Thanks for having us up. It was good.
Hell yeah.
Hanging out and getting in some lives. I took a break from going live. I've been observing them. I've been like a spectator and commenter. But I took a break from going live. So of course it's like you do pretty well, but I definitely get tripped up with having like a steady flow of my thoughts. So, having to reboot and refresh.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's like, this thought, this is the explanation. This is like sometimes when they ask me nutrition stuff now, I'm like, I haven't thought about it for a minute because it's like pointless to the point, but I used to have that information in my brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But anyway. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the vegans in the chat. Thank you for everyone's support. And if you're not vegan, go vegan. And I'll see you on Monday.
All right. See you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye.